Since 2007, the Jaguars have had this great of a start. I'm Nick Frazier. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
And the score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board.
Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff.
You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
By the way, apparently, this show with Robbie and Joe are apparently a huge hit with the young people. Did you see that, Ian?
Hey, man, we are hip.
Apparently, the young people, and you know, I get it. I get the young people liking Ian. I get the young people liking Robbie. Honestly, I get the young people liking me. I'm a little surprised at all the young people out there that like Joe. I'm not going to lie. But congratulations to Robbie and Retro. Their show continues to grow by leaps and bounds. So I want to start with this today. I am very, 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 very close to guaranteeing that Tennessee will go on the road tomorrow in the third Saturday in October and lose to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, they're eight and a half points that they're dogs on the road. But I just can't guarantee it, at least not yet. Maybe I'll talk myself into it today. But I just can't guarantee it because I cannot guarantee a victory with Jalen Milroe at quarterback, a quarterback I don't trust, I don't think much of, and an Alabama team that beat Arkansas at home by 3 points last week, and Arkansas kind of stinks. You know, Arkansas has been in every game they've played, it feels like, and they've just found a way to lose all of them. And so you only beat Arkansas by 3. You weren't that impressive against A&M, albeit the game was on the road. So you weren't that impressive against A&M. Neither was Tennessee. You're playing at home. But you got a quarterback I don't. If there ever was a time for Tennessee to win a game in Tuscaloosa, it would be against this Alabama team. This Alabama team is nothing like the Alabama teams that we're used to, and you know it. Derrick Henry's not on that team. Julio Jones is not on that team. Amari Cooper is not on that team. I mean, with the big old fat defensive linemen, half of whom play for Washington and fight with each other on the sidelines, they're not on that team. Landon Collins and Mika Fitzpatrick aren't on that team. Tua or Mac Jones or Bryce Young, they're not quarterbacking that team. And I'm going to say Nick Saban, I think he's got a little too nice for me. And so this is the most vulnerable it feels like Alabama has been in a long time. I mean, Texas went right in there and just kicked the crap out of them in week 2. But I just don't see a path to victory for Tennessee. Not with that quarterback, not on the road, and not after they beat Alabama last year and celebrated it like they won the Super Bowl. Now, I know that on one hand, Alabama's not that good of a football team. They are not a national title contender. I do not think, let's say that they win the West, because the West, I mean, it looks like it's very winnable. Auburn stinks. A&M is average. They've already beaten Ole Miss. So the West is very winnable. LSU can't play defense. So the West is very winnable. Let's say they win the West and they get matched up with Georgia in the Dome. I think Georgia would crush them. So I just don't see them as a title contender. But again, let's go back to last year's game. Last year's game was the dream season for Tennessee football, at least of this century. It was the we are back. And that game was the moment that Tennessee football, for the first time since Nick Saban coached LSU and upset them in the national championship game in 2001, it's the first time Tennessee mattered nationally outside of doing something stupid or embarrassing over the last 20 years. The first time the Tennessee fans have begged for a moment like that for 2 decades. And they got it. By one bounce here, one ball off the hands of Jahmyr Gibbs there, one pass interference in the end zone. Just like how Jacksonville won the game last night because of one bounce off the hands. These games are so close. Tennessee won. They tore down the goalpost. They threw them in the river. It was the greatest party anybody had ever seen. And that was the best team Tennessee's had in 20 years. And they won by an eyelash. The best team. Alabama last year didn't even win the SEC West. And don't think Alabama didn't take that personally. Everything that everybody celebrated, all the cigars that were smoked, all of the fans that got pushed trying to get on the field and got into it with Alabama players, don't think Alabama didn't take that personally. Now, I don't know if Alabama has the chutzpah in them that I am used to from typical Alabama teams. But if they have even 1/10 of what I'm used to, the revenge factor might be enough alone. But then you throw in the fact that they're playing at home. We saw how important home field was to Tennessee last year. If you play that game in Tuscaloosa 10 times, Alabama's going to win it every time. And that's with NFL wide receivers and Hendon Hooker, the best quarterback maybe since Peyton Manning at Tennessee. I mean, it was everything going their way at home, and they won by an eyelash. You play that game in Tuscaloosa, they're not going to beat Alabama last year. So now the game is in Tuscaloosa, which is traditionally very difficult to play in. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's impossible to win. Texas already went on the road, and they won there. And last week, and I know it was a sleepy, noon kickoff against Arkansas, but Arkansas very much had a chance to win that football game last week. But I have a feeling that after what happened last season, with all the cigars that were smoked and all the things that were said and all the wild Rocky Top celebrations, the Alabama crowd tomorrow for the CBS game, the final CBS third Saturday in October with Brad and Gary, is going to be off the chain. And third, this quarterback's not going on the road to Alabama and beating the Crimson Tide. I mean, I'm not sure this quarterback goes on the road and beats Alabama if Mike Price is the coach. I'm not sure this quarterback goes on the road and beats Alabama if Mike Dubose is the coach. But this quarterback, Joe Milton, he's got all the talent in the world, supposedly. He's big, he's strong, he's huge, and he can throw the ball 950 billion yards. Other than that, he doesn't really do much. He's not accurate. His timing is terrible. He throws some of the dumbest interceptions at the worst times. He is never a guy who can rescue his team. And as a 12th year senior, which is what I think Joe Milton might be, what is he like? He's been in college for 6 years. You need to be able to do a little bit of that. Like my team, Louisville, we're living the same life. We've got this kid, Jack Plummer, at quarterback. He stinks. And the best way for us to win is for us to not make him throw the ball. We got great receivers. We can run the ball. We got a good defense. And our quarterback stinks and turns the ball over at the worst possible times. That's what Joe Milton is. And it's one thing to ask the quarterback to win a game at home like that. It's another thing, like we at Louisville in the ACC can ask our quarterback, hey, go win at NC State doing that. It's going to be tough, but it's NC State. It's not Alabama. It's not Tuscaloosa. And so I like Josh Heupel, and I think this game tomorrow is kind of one of those games where Josh Heupel had the great season, and everybody believed that he was the future and he was the truth and that they had found their A-plus coach, and I bought into some of that too. I bought into some of the, did Tennessee just hire the next Chip Kelly? Did Tennessee just hire the next Steve Spurrier? Did Tennessee hire the next Art Briles or Bobby Petrino? You know, on the field. Certainly, hopefully, not off the field. But did they hire that next guy? But now, this year, Tennessee doesn't have the dream quarterback anymore. They've got the regular quarterback, and it's like, boy, I tell you, we got to gut out these games by field goals over here. It's like, I don't know if Heupel necessarily was the engine of that football team or if it was the special quarterback that they had. And every game I watch this quarterback play, the more I think it might have been the quarterback that they had last year, which takes me to, again, if you go on the road and you beat Alabama, and I don't care how down Alabama is, but if you go on the road and you beat Alabama as Tennessee's coach, I mean, you might as well just give Heupel a lifetime contract at that point. You might as well say, hey, dude, whatever it takes. Now, do you want to own part of the university? If you Heupel way, whatever it takes. So it's a big game. It's a big game, and it is an opportunity for Tennessee. But I just don't see it. I don't see Tennessee going on the road in the SEC. You know, Gary Danielson caught a lot of flack last week. I thought this was so stupid. Ian, did you see this? All the Tennessee fans that got mad at Gary Danielson?
No.
So Gary Danielson said, I think it was in the Knoxville News Sentinel, something along the lines that Tennessee's like every other SEC stadium, that it doesn't take a back seat to anybody, but it's not anything special as far as the rest of the SEC. And Tennessee fans were offended by that. They're like, how dare you, Gary Danielson? We'll show you next week. And I thought to myself, like, that's a compliment. The SEC. Have you ever watched an SEC game that isn't Tennessee?
They're all pretty hype.
Yes. Like, they're all hard to play in. This isn't like saying, you know, Tennessee, it's more like an AAC stadium than an SEC stadium. Or Tennessee's second worst in the SEC to Vanderbilt. It's that, no. But they got all mad about that. Well, I think Alabama's just like all the other SEC stadiums. It's hard to win at LSU. It's hard to win at Georgia. It's hard to win at Auburn. We saw Tennessee go on the road to Florida. They look like crap. It's hard. So they got to go to Tuscaloosa. They got to beat Alabama after everything that happened last year. So you know, even with this Alabama team, you know you're getting their best shot. And your quarterback's not very good. I do not see a path to victory here for Tennessee. Maybe they'll have a closed-door conference session and try to hash it out before the game, but I do not see a path to victory. So I want to guarantee it. I want to guarantee it. But you want to know the number one reason why I can't guarantee it? I'm not a fan of this Alabama team. I certainly am not a fan of Jalen Milroe. But you want to know why I am struggling, Ian, to hit the guarantee button?
Why is that?
Because I guaranteed that Alabama would beat Tennessee last year. And
I
then
don't
they
remember
threw the
that.
goalpost in the
Oh,
river.
I don't remember that.
Oh,
Okay.
I did.
Okay, I have to go back and check the list, but I take your word for it.
And then, they threw the goalposts in the river. So that's how we're starting today. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. So Nick Saban said something yesterday that I don't know if this is the mood of the Alabama team or if this is the mood that Nick Saban wants the Alabama team to have. But that differential, that line right there between the two, is incredibly important for tomorrow's game. We'll get to that coming up next. We're starting on Tennessee and Alabama. We're starting on college football for you people out there that complain in the text line that we talk too much about Vrabel. Now's your opportunity. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Stillman & Company on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Again, that phone number is 615-737-1025. 1025. We got a bunch of tickets and stuff to give away today, and we'll do that. Hey, be sure to tune in to 94.9 The Fan tomorrow at 7 for our college football game of the week, Utah and USC, presented by Twin Peaks. Take your tailgate to Twin Peaks for scenic views of all the hottest college football games across the country and home of 29-degree beer.
When you want all the...
Going in and the score. Blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the...
Oh, what a stop. Sliding across to make the save. Backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is... Smashville. We have you covered. Hear every Predators game. Right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey guys, it's Mike from Newton Chevrolet GMC in Shelbyville. It's finally football season in Tennessee, which means sweaters, tailgates, and pumpkin spice lattes. Wait, it's still almost 90 degrees outside. Where's the fall weather? I guess we'll just have to keep waiting and sweating it out, even at football games for now. But don't wait on cooler temps to commit to making sure your car's running smoothly. Even if you're still running the AC, it might be time to check the oil, all the fluid levels, and just a basic once-over to make sure that when the weather finally does cool off, you won't be left out in the cold, literally or figuratively. Let our service center give you peace of mind and offer you great savings while you're at it. Save on basic services like tire rotations, fluid services, and brake checkups with up to $25 in savings this month at Newton Chevrolet GMC. Just a short drive away from Murfreesboro. Visit NewtonChevroletGMC.com to schedule a fall service checkup today. That's NewtonChevroletGMC.com.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to theGameNashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Obviously, last year, Tennessee-Alabama, third Saturday in October, ended with goalposts getting taken down to a river that I jumped in hours before that. This year, a little bit different team. The Tennessee team looks vastly different than they did last year. Your team looks vastly different than it did last year. What's the message you're telling the boys about this Tennessee game, and what do you see from this Tennessee team versus last year's team?
Well, I think the big thing for our guys is, we have played well when we're a little bit upset and have an edge to us. And that's something that we have to go in this game with. I thought we played the game last year with a lot of anxiety. There was a lot on the line. A lot of guys put a lot of pressure on themselves. We don't really want to go there. We want to keep an edge about how we compete, how we focus, how we play.
There you go. That was Saban talking about, you know what? We play better when we have an edge. We play better when we play like there's nothing to lose. We play better, quite frankly, when we're pissed off. That's the way I interpreted that. And I'm wondering if Saban, Saban a lot of times when he does these media hits later in the week, especially with the CBS crew, but there's almost sometimes kind of a foreshadowing element with Nick Saban. They played Georgia in 2015, and they had just lost to Ole Miss, and it was a sky is falling moment at Alabama, as every time Alabama loses, it's a sky is falling moment for the Saban dynasty. And Saban was asked on the sideline before the game about, rebounding after the loss, and he got up there and gave a speech that would make politicians blush. It was so good. And Alabama immediately at Georgia went there and spanked him on the tush. Now, I don't know when Nick Saban talks about Alabama playing with that edge. I don't know if he's saying, hey, if he's foreshadowing I've seen it this week in practice, we've got that edge. Or if Saban is preaching to them every day, you've got to play with that edge in hopes that they will play with that edge. But the difference is very important. Because if Alabama is super motivated after what happened last year in Knoxville, then I don't see any way Tennessee can win. I don't see any way. If Alabama takes this game 100% seriously, spends all week talking about revenge, you know what Deion Sanders was able to do early in the season? Make everything personal, make the other team a bunch of villains. If Saban can do that, Alabama's not going to lose. And I bet you he's not only shown the game to them from last year, just about all the little mistakes, because they did not play well. All the little mistakes that they made that cost them the game at Tennessee. But don't think he hasn't shown them all of the social media celebrations and the cigar smoking and do you really want to live with that embarrassment again? For Tennessee, a victory against Alabama was complete and total jubilation. For Alabama, it's depression. It's the sky is falling. I remember Vanderbilt lost to Tennessee in Knoxville in overtime in 2011. 2012, James Franklin was the coach. They just absolutely crushed them. I want to say the final score was something like 41-18. Vanderbilt over Tennessee. Derek Dooley got fired the next day. And all I could think about was how much joy Vanderbilt fans had running Tennessee out of the building, where it felt like a never-ending string of touchdowns that night, and just how embarrassed and disgusted Tennessee was. They fired their coach next day. Alabama was embarrassed and disgusted that they let a program that for the last 20 years has been little brother to them beat them. So we're going to learn a lot about Alabama tomorrow, about whether or not they have that edge, they play with that anger, they did take it personally, or if Saban is preaching a message to his team that he, quite frankly, can't get through. So we're going to find that out. And if Saban is foreshadowing that that's what they've got, Tennessee's in trouble. If Saban can't get that through to the team, then maybe Tennessee has a chance. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. One texter says, and this must be a younger guy, again, Robbie and Rex Road are incredibly popular in town with the young people. I mean, so are we. But Robbie and Rex Road are through the roof. And again, I get Robbie, I get me, I get Ian, I get, the young people love Joe. Says, Joe is our favorite grandfather figure on the radio to talk you off a ledge or to push you off one. The Vols, though, will lose by 10. Tennessee, the new Tennessee motto for both the Vols and the Titans is there's always next year, and it will continue to live on. Texter into the text line says that if this game were in Knoxville, Tennessee would win by 14. But Milton cannot beat any Alabama team on the road. See, I would not give Tennessee a 14-point advantage. They didn't even, they barely beat A&M Sunday or Saturday. And A&M's not as good as Bama, and you know it. I wouldn't say that Tennessee would win that game by 14 if they were to play at Knoxville. The line's 8 in Tuscaloosa. Ian, what would you set the line, Alabama versus Tennessee, if the game were being played in Knoxville?
Maybe Alabama by field goal.
That's what I was thinking. Bama 3. I think 8 is the perfect line for this game because I can see Bama taking that game incredibly personally after what happened last year and just beating the crap out of Tennessee and Joe Milton screwing up and it kind of looking like the Florida game. Rivalry game on the road, Tennessee screws up, and the other team taking it personal beats the crap out of them. But I also am not, Alabama played Arkansas close last week. Alabama played A&M close. Alabama played a bad first half against Ole Miss. Alabama was horrendous against USF. So I can kind of go either way in that regard. Texture says, Jared is talking that Tennessee won last year and upset about all the cigar smoke like the winner doesn't smoke one each year. Difference is that it is custom for Alabama to do it because they've won so many times that it's more so a collection of Tennessee being frustrated by the fact that Alabama almost always beats them, at least until last year, that Alabama did always beat them. More than it is a one-year embarrassment night of shame that the Alabama team had to live through last year. And you can take it personally if you're a Vols fan and say, oh, you're not being fair to the Vols and you're not this and that. And that. I get it. But just put yourself in the shoes of the Alabama fan. When you get beat by a team that you never lose to, it is horrendously embarrassing. 615-737-1025. Tristan is up next here on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Tristan.
Yes, I was wondering, all the players, for Alabama and all the smack talking, has Tennessee done anything smack talking? Would that put, will Tennessee take that, what Nick Saban has said this weekend, just to win this week or not?
I don't think Tennessee is. Look, the thing about Tennessee, thank you for your call, Tristan. The thing about Tennessee and the thing about the trash talk in the SEC, and it can be the smallest thing in the SEC. It can really be the smallest thing. I guess it's not just the SEC. We saw in Major League Baseball last week.
Yeah, I think it's all sports, yeah.
That Bryce Harper thing, which I was like, what? Why is he staring him down? What did he say? What did he do? But I don't think I've heard anything out of Tennessee's camp that would push Alabama one way or another. But Alabama doesn't need extra motivation. Alabama, again, has the shame of what happened last year that they have to live with. And I'll say this about Saban. I really believed in Saban and the dynasty, and I thought Alabama was going to go 12-0 this year and meet Georgia in the SEC championship game, and then they got freaking smoked by Texas, and they looked horrible against USF, and I was like, that's it. It's over. It's done. But one of the things about Saban over the years is that I don't think there's a better motivator in life than Nick Saban. Maybe in the entire world. If we were to say, okay, best motivators, best leaders, Nick Saban's got to be towards the top of the list of current people living on the planet right now, right? So I've always expected that out of Nick Saban in Alabama. But if he can't get through to his team that they've got to play with an edge this year against Tennessee in a rivalry game after what happened last year, then I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about Nick Saban. And I'm a little worried about, does he still have the ability? What's 15737-1025 plus? This Jim Harbaugh story out of Michigan. This is wild. And I think this is going to have some serious ramifications. We'll get to that coming up next year on the program, 615-737-1025. Fireball Whiskey, that's right. It's the bye week, which means it's the week to take off and enjoy. And unlike last week when we all had to wake up to watch football at 8:30 on Sunday, don't have to do that at all, which means celebrate the weekend, celebrate the season with Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. It goes down so smooth and it tastes so great. There is no better way to ignite the night than to do it with ice-cold Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. That's right. I love Fireball Whiskey. Why? It's my whiskey of choice. It's a real whiskey, not a liqueur. That's Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. Ignite the night. Please do it responsibly and be 21 years or older to enjoy Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ron Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
Hal Gill here for my good friends at Dunkin'. I get my Dunks every morning. I grew up with Dunkin' in Boston, and it's been my favorite ever since. Fall in love with Dunkin's pumpkin coffee, lattes, muffins, and donuts. Made with their signature high-quality coffee, each sip and bite is sure to delight. Perfect for those cool autumn mornings or as a sweet treat any time of day. You won't be able to resist the delicious pumpkin flavor. Get pumped for pumpkin. Stop by Dunkin' today.
Vanderbilt Commodore fans, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, along with 94.9 The Fan, is your new home for broadcast of games and the Commodore Hour on Monday evenings. Catch all the action for football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball all season long. Go Doors!
Join 102.5 The Game and me, Chase McCabe, for the grand opening of Prince's Hot Chicken at the brand new Tanger Outlets in Antioch on Friday, October 27th from 12 to 2. Come hang out with the Suit for a chance to win Preds tickets and enjoy the best hot chicken in Nashville from Prince's Hot Chicken, Nashville's original hot chicken restaurant.
Get ready to dig into the future of construction. Look no further than Parman Tractor and Equipment. They've got the power and precision you need with link belt excavators, where red means go. Whether you're looking to rent or buy, link belt excavators are known for reliability and performance. When you see that red and gray machine on the job site, you know it's time to get things done. Parman Tractor's team offers unparalleled service. Visit parmantractor.com and get in the dirt with employee owners of Parman, where red means go. Don't miss out on totally outrageous customer service.
He knows Nashville sports.
And you've got Mike Vrabel in what feels like sort of a back against the wall game. They're at their best.
And he's not scared to tell it like it is.
They need to go on the road and win a game.
He is Outkick's Chad Withrow.
16 5-star players and 52 4-star players.
Withrow joins Stillman and Company every Friday at 5. Brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
They still have all of the talent.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Smashville, this is Andrew Burnett, and you're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
As far as Jim Harbaugh is concerned, this is the second time he's dealt with something like this, one way or another, in the last few months. How do you see this impacting his future?
Greeny, considering that Jim Harbaugh has really proven all the critics and skeptics wrong by the run to the playoffs the last couple of years and possibly again this year, I think he's going to leave college football and go back to the NFL. I think he's had enough of what this sport is really all about, the way it's operated, and the thin line that the NCAA uses to go after people. Clearly, he is in their crosshairs, and I think he's going to look around like he has the last two seasons, and if he gets the offer he wants, he is going to depart college football at the end of the season.
There you go. That was Feinbaum today, and I'm like, wait a minute. Harbaugh's the victim here? So the story, if you're unaware, is that the NCAA notified the Big Ten and Michigan State, who Michigan plays this weekend, that Michigan has been accused of improper sign stealing, a.k.a. cheating. What they've done is they've sent basically an advanced scout to go scout their opponents and get their signals on the sidelines. You know, in college, they actually have to do, the signals like a baseball team or something or another to put in the play, as opposed to the NFL where they've got the coach with the headset doing the 29 eagle edge, jumbo, queen, double I, queen set. And you see the quarterback that's always got the green dot. He's got his hands on his helmet like he's trying to hear the play call. They don't have that in college. So it's illegal in order to steal the signs. Now, you can steal them in live time. If you look at a team and you see that a guy, every time that he does a motion for a boot, that means it's a boot, you can steal that there. But you can't send somebody over there to write down, okay, play 13, guy's got a boot motion, and it ended up being a boot, and then go into the game that way. Now, I think it's true. I think that the allegations are true. They're looking for this recruiting staffer, Connor Stallions. They're looking for his computer. The NCAA has requested access to it. And my guess is they wouldn't be this strongly accusing Michigan of this stuff if they didn't know that Michigan did it. So I'm pretty sure Michigan did it. Now, I will just say this. Again, Feinbaum's talking about Harbaugh like he's the victim. And I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that think that this sign stealing's not a big deal and that, I didn't even know that the rule was you couldn't send somebody there. Right. And you're not paid millions of dollars to know the rules. They are. But I think if this is true, and quite frankly, I think it is, I think it's completely unethical. It's illegal by the rules in which Michigan is playing by, and I think Jim Harbaugh should be fired. And while it's not against the law, and it's not dangerous to somebody's health, and it's not, unethical of a personal nature, like Bobby Petrino hiring his mistress, it is so unethical if it's that much against the rules that all these other coaches are like, that's not right. In a sport where forever breaking the rule of paying the players was something that almost all these teams did. And to just send this ex-Army grad out to places to scout is so brazen. It's like, if you don't fire Harbaugh over this, then do you have any rules to begin with? Like, what's the point of having rules if you don't enforce them whatsoever? And so I would say that if this is as purported, which is, again, the allegations are just that, they're allegations, so I keep saying if they're true, though I think that they're true. If they're true, and Michigan was running this elaborate scheme in order to steal opponents' signs, and they've got them, and that is against the rules, and Harbaugh's been doing it systemically, he should be fired. Like, that should be a line that coaches should not be allowed to cross. That should be a line that, even though we always say things like, how is the head coach supposed to know what everybody's doing? Because he's the head coach. And it's not some college kid taking, $20 to get a haircut. It's a staffer traveling to away games. There's no way that goes on without Harbaugh knowing about it. How does the staffer travel to the game? How does the staffer stay at the game? How does the staffer get into the game? You think he's doing that on his own? You think that's his own Chase visa that he's using in order to go to those things? You think he's the one paying those bills? So I think it's probably true because the allegations are so direct, right? They already know who the guy they're looking for is. He's got a military background, and they want access to his computer. They know who it is, which means he's been caught. So it's probably true. And if it's true, Harbaugh should be fired. Now, I wouldn't want Harbaugh coaching my team in the NFL, but again, I go back to, it's like Harbaugh, test the limits of every single rule that college football has ever had. And I never had a problem with him testing the limits of the rules. But you can't break them. And so this Michigan team is supposed to be a national title contender. They made it to the playoff last year, and they made it to the playoff the year before that. And now I think this casts a big shadow over it. Bruce Feldman had a piece in The Athletic that ran last year before the Ohio State-Michigan game, and he talked to coaches. You know, Bruce Feldman is very, very tight end in the college football world. And he talked to coaches in the Big Ten that had played both Michigan and Ohio State, and it was kind of like a preview piece for the Michigan and the Ohio State game. It was kind of a, these unnamed coaches speaking on the condition of anonymity so that they could tell you their real feelings. They break down the Ohio State-Michigan game. And, one coach who's a defensive backs coach said, Marvin Harrison Jr. is so hard to cover, and those kind of things. And towards the end of that story, one of the ones was a Big Ten assistant who said, Michigan's really good at deciphering your signals. They got us on both sides of the ball last year, is what the assistant said. Well, it's easy if they cheat in order to be able to do that. And I'm also not somebody who lives my life by accepting the rationale of others when it comes to cheating with this belief that, everybody else does it. Because one, I don't know that. But two, those are the rules. It's like the same as white-collar crimes. Well, that tax evasion, everybody's doing it. Yeah, and you got caught. I'm not doing it. College sports paying the players. Everybody was doing it. Yeah? Well, it's against the rules, and you got caught. So I don't have any sympathy when you got caught. That's with everything in life. When there are rules, everybody's going to try to break the rules in everything. And I say everybody's going to try to break the rules. I don't really mean that. People are going to try to break the rules in everything. Whether it's taxes, whether it's health care, whether any kind of fraud. People are going to try to break the rules. Well, the rules don't matter if they never get enforced. And so if the NCAA has credible evidence that Jim Harbaugh did this, and Jim Harbaugh ends up keeping his job at Michigan, and they slap him with like an 8-game suspension after they already suspended him once, they slap him with another suspension and he keeps his job, then what's the point of having the rules? Now, Michigan, I don't know if I should say to their credit, but Michigan has said that they will not interfere, they will assist in any way of this investigation. They've already suspended the staffer who's being accused of doing this. But everybody always says that. I mean, Michigan's the same school that had their basketball coach slap a guy in the face a couple years ago. So Michigan's always dealing with this kind of stuff. But I mean, I tell you, Harbaugh, I've had just about enough of Harbaugh. And if he's cheating, he's got to go. Jason from Mount Juliet says, I think for Tennessee to win, Joe Milton will need to play like he hasn't played yet this season. However, Tennessee's strengths match up well with Alabama's weaknesses. Alabama has allowed 31 sacks this year, and UT ranks 3rd in sacks. They also rank 6th in rushing offense, while Alabama ranks 18th in defense. If UT can limit turnovers, it could be a close game. Again, the first part of what you said is the number one reason why I don't think I can see myself picking Tennessee. For Tennessee to win, Joe Milton will have to play like he hasn't played this season. Joe Milton was terrible on the road at Florida. Joe Milton was terrible last week at home against Texas A&M. So what makes you think that Joe Milton all of a sudden is going to play like a high-end college quarterback? I don't think he has it in him. And I don't care about the bowl game last year against Clemson. Players sit out the bowl games. It's Clemson. They're used to going to good bowls. It was a big game for Tennessee. I don't care about that. Joe Milton hasn't played well all year. Joe Milton's not good. And so in order to beat Alabama to Alabama, you have to get good quarterback play. I mean, I can't think of the last team that beat Alabama that had bad quarterback play. Last year, you had exceptional quarterback play out of Hendon Hooker. The total's only 48, which I'm a little surprised by. And Tennessee's team total is 18.5. Boy, I tell you, that's embarrassing for Josh Heupel. Now, they're supposed to usually kick that thing on up. By the way, somebody texted in and said that Bryant Denny is not an imposing atmosphere in the SEC. I'm not going to take your word on that. I'll text around. I can't imagine that Alabama is a tea party on a Saturday afternoon. I cannot imagine that Alabama has a corporate crowd. I cannot imagine that Alabama is overrun by visiting fans. This is not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, folks. It's the Alabama Crimson Tide. I've seen their games on TV. It does not look easy to play there, and most people don't win there. So I have a hard time with that one. 615-737-1025 is our phone number on the program today, 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Coming up next, how about my hockey team last night? You know, I was getting a little worried they might get off to a bad start. They go up to New York, they play the Rangers, and they kick the crap out of them. We'll get to that coming up next. Hey, make your silly underdog picks for your chance to win weekly prizes. You can play at theGameNashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app as we approach Week 8 of the college football season and Week 7 for the NFL. Silly underdog picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket, and I think we'll probably give away some Preds tickets next segment. Be listening for that. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Fall is the time for family, friends, and unforgettable moments. Lee Company wants you to savor every second. While you enjoy this time with your family, our professional technicians can handle everything else, from gutter cleaning to pressure washing to painting to new gas log installations. We've been serving homeowners in this area for almost 80 years. Visit LeeCompany.com to learn more. That's LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need.
When you own a business, it's like another member of your family. Its success takes time. It requires money, attention, and tools to help it grow. At F&M Bank, we'll treat your business like family, building trust and responding quickly when you need us. No matter your business goals, you can reach them easier when you have a banking relationship that supports you, tools to conveniently manage your money coming in and going out, and expertise to make your business better. Bank your business at F&M Bank. MyFMBank.com. Banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC.
Today's world is filled with many things that can push us to our limit. An upcoming move should not add to that list. Hey, it's Caroline Fenton. And when you choose Black Tie Moving like I did, you get a highly awarded Inc. 500 company. From the free estimate by a local professional moving consultant to the red carpet treatment, they take the stress out of the process. So visit blacktiemoving.com or call 615-437-8401. Mention GAME, G-A-M-E, to score 10% off your next move. Let Black Tie Moving make your next move the best move of your life.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off, They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Liberty Mutual presents How to Be the Life of the Party.
Okay, first turn the music off. Then ask for everyone's attention. Now, tell them that you customized your home insurance with Liberty Mutual and saved hundreds. Boom! Now everyone knows you're not just a pretty face. You have some brains inside that face that know how to save hundreds on home insurance. Woo!
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com. Based on recent survey of new customers who switched and saved. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
In insightful discussion.
When we talk about the person that these players are.
3 goals scored in the first 5 minutes.
He wants to be the starter, day one. Mixed with spirited debate.
Okay, but let's Professor Derek.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
We got the whole thing covered. We got it all covered.
Here.
Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Burnett said that Michael McCarron had a great camp, earned this chance. One-timer Tyson Berry, and it's in the net! Cole Smith was in the crease, and he ended up in the net with the puck in his first goal of the season. 1-0 Predators with 8:36 left in the first. To the right side, Miller, pass blocked as he looked to Kako on the left wing. Smith will be free, and he is free. Back to full and even strength, and the puck comes right to him. Could be a 2-on-0. Smith scores! Cole Smith's got them both. Predators 2, Rangers nothing with 3:38 left in the first.
Can I comment on Max's announcing for a second, Ian?
Maybe.
Well, you know I love Max with all my heart. I do. But it sounds like in those cuts, it sounds like Max is a balloon that gets pumped up, right? Like at the beginning, he's just give me one of those goal calls from Max last night.
Burnett said that Michael McCarron had a great camp, earned this chance. One-timer Tyson Berry, and it's in the net! Cole Smith was in the crease, and he ended up in the net with the puck in his first goal of the season. 1-0 Predators with 8:36 left in the first.
It's like a balloon. Like Max
I think he
is
sounded
just normal,
great.
and then he goes pop. I love it. I love it. But Max is doing a great job. I am just giving Max a hard time because I love him. Let me say this. I want to thank the Predators for the game yesterday because, and it's funny, we bring up Max because I texted him this, but last night after the show was over, I went over to Sports and Social in Green Hills, and, you know, they got all the TVs on, and so I'm sitting there and I'm eating these wonderful chicken tacos. But I've got on one TV, right, I've got the baseball game on where I am rooting incredibly hard against the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm not rooting for the Diamondbacks. I'm rooting against the Phillies. And then on another TV, I got the Preds, and then I got the football game coming on. So I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. And the Predators go on the power play, as I learned from Max on the broadcast yesterday. They call it the peeper, apparently. Where did that come from, by the way? The peeper? What happened to calling it the PP? I think I want to call it the PP. Some teams
you can call it whatever you'd like.
Some teams have a good, strong, hard
peeper
to play against PP, and other teams have a weak PP. Anywho, so the Predators' power play has been terrible, and they go on it, and they look like they've never played hockey before the first power play. I'm like, oh, my God, this is terrible. And then all of a sudden, Cole Smith porks one in, and I'm like, okay, that's, good bounce, gritty goal, take it. Then he gets another. I'm like, oh, my God, Cole Smith, the John Hines love child. I mean, he is doing his thing. And then they go up, 3-0? They went up. And that was when I was like, oh, football's getting ready to come on. And it was great because I texted Max and I said, do I trust the Predators enough that I can turn off the TV now and turn on football? Because we're an hour into the game because they played at 6 instead of 7 because they were in New York, and they're up 3-0. And I trust this team because I trust this coach. And I'm like, can I turn it off? Because I have YouTube TV. So now I left and I gone home, and I have YouTube TV. And the problem with YouTube TV is YouTube TV does not have Bally Sports, which has the Predators, and Amazon has Thursday Night Football. So unlike what YouTube TV offers us with every other single sporting event, where I can get the multi-viewer and I can watch 2 games at one time, or I can watch 4 games at one time, or even click out of one game and click on the other, I can't do that with the Predators, who I have to have a special app to watch, and the NFL, that I have to have a special app to watch, and I want to watch the Jacksonville game. So I'm like, okay, I think I can trust the Predators. I think I can turn it off. And I did. I texted Max and I said, can I trust him? And I knew that the answer, of course, was going to be, well, it's a long game and we'll see. Or in the case of Max, well, it was a long game. I kid, because I love Max. He's doing a great job. But I texted him, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to trust the Predators. I'm going to trust the Predators, and I'm going to turn the game off, and I'm going to put the NFL game on, and I'm going to watch that. And hopefully, the Predators won't stink it up the rest of the way. And then all of a sudden I have to log out of Amazon to log in for Bally Sports and watch, the end of the game. No, I didn't have to do that. This is a team I like. This is a team that plays hard. This is a team that, somehow, some way finds a way to put the puck in the net. Yesterday, put it in there 4 times. I like this team. I like this coach. And they're back to even. Or they'll get back to even at 3-3 because San Jose's terrible, and they come in here tomorrow, and so they'll beat them. And then all we need to worry about the rest of the way is, can the Predators win enough games by U.S. Thanksgiving to be in the playoffs? Because if you're in the playoffs by U.S. Thanksgiving, chances are really, really, really good that you're going to be in the playoffs that season. And I think it would be great for this team to be one of those teams that is, for the most part, comfortably in the playoffs the whole season. Now, I don't want Barry to go crazy and start trading for things at the deadline, and I don't think Barry will, which is another reason why I can root for this team to win games, to be in a position to make the playoffs, unlike last year and the year before that, where I was worried that if I did, David Poile was going to sell something important like a second-round pick in order to get something like Jeremy Lozon in return. So now I feel good about the direction. I like the team. I thought they played a great game last night. The only game in which I didn't think they were competitive was the Edmonton game, and I just expect that because Edmonton has 2 of the best players I've ever seen in my entire life. And these 2 players just happen to absolutely own the Predators. So I feel good about the team. And I feel good about Max's broadcasting. I do. And let me just say this for the record. In case anybody thinks that, I'm taking a crack at Max or whatever it may be, I really, really like Max. I think Max does a tremendous job. And I mean that with all of my heart. I do. I think Max is awesome. I saw an article this week. I actually thought about quote tweeting this, and I didn't. And now I guess I regret not doing that. But there was an article about how bad Jack Collinsworth was on the Notre Dame USC game. And apparently Jack Collinsworth, he's Chris Collinsworth's son at NBC, and he's 28 years old. And I wanted to quote tweet it and say, Max Hers, who's 28 years old, calls a better game right now than Jack Collinsworth. And the difference is Max's last name is not Collinsworth. If Max's last name was Collinsworth, he'd probably be calling the USC Notre Dame game and would probably be doing a good job of it. So I'm happy about my Predators, about the way that they played, and I'm happy about the way Max is calling the game. Even though, can we get one of those play-by-plays again? I just love this. Just listen to Max, inflate like a balloon when they score.
To the right side, Miller, pass blocked as he looked at Kako on the left wing. Smith will be free, and he is free. Back to full and even strength, and the puck comes right to him. Could be a 2-on-0. Smith scores! Cole Smith's got them both. Predators 2, Rangers nothing with 3:38 left in the first.
I love it. He's doing a good job. 615-737-1025. I promised some Preds tickets, so let's give them away. Who wants to go tomorrow night? Be caller 5 right now at 615-737-1025, and you will see the Predators get back to even at 3-3 when they take on the San Jose Sharks this Saturday at Bridgestone Arena. Do not miss the game, 7 o'clock at Bridgestone Arena. Join in on the fun and help celebrate the 25th anniversary season, and tickets are available at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Coming up next, I went back to 2019. The last time the Titans were 2-4, and I wondered what was the tone then compared to now. We'll do that. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30.
Come on.
Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hi, this is Warren Moon, former quarterback for the Houston Oilers, 9-time Pro Bowler, and member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. As a former player, I've always focused on my health. Did you know about 1 in every 3 people in the U.S. will have shingles in their lifetime? Shingles can cause nerve pain and can last for months or even years. As we get older, our risk of having shingles and its serious complications increases. Getting the shingles vaccine is the only way to prevent shingles. Join me and gear up against shingles.
In any work environment, culture is the most important thing. And what makes up the culture? The people. Hey, this is General Manager Sean Ford with Cromwell Media. And this month, we have several celebrating their anniversary working with us. From our corporate office, Janice Russell is celebrating 33 years and Dorothy Black, 29. Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad, the duo that make up our morning show on 102.5 The Game, are celebrating 3 years. And Connor Newt, who works for 102.5 behind the scenes, is celebrating 1 year with us as well. If you're looking for a new career, reach out to us at together@cromwellmedia.com. Love what you do, love where you work.
Green Trees Company Dispensary and 102.5 The Game want to send you to see Kiss at Bridgestone Arena October 23rd. Keep listening to Nashville's best sports talk for your chance to win tickets to see Kiss on their End of the Road tour, courtesy of Green Trees Company Dispensary.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Nashville Predators got back on the winning track last night with a nice 4-1 win in New York over the Rangers. Forward Cole Smith tallied 2 goals to lead the way. Head coach Andrew Burnett after the game.
It's nice to get rewarded. We've created a lot of opportunities here in the first 4 games and haven't really reaped the benefits of it. And tonight we got a couple greasy ones, and it was nice to see Phil get on the board with that shot and the power play a little bit. So we did a lot of good things, but I really liked our game away from the puck. I thought that was really important tonight.
The Preds return home tomorrow night when they host San Jose with puck drop set for 7 o'clock. Hear all the action right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. The Tennessee Titans are off this week, but elsewhere around the NFL, Bears quarterback Justin Fields and Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo will both miss their games this week. The Major League Baseball playoffs continue today as well. Game 5 of the ALCS between Houston and Texas with the series tied 2-2 begins at 4 o'clock. And coming up tonight, Arizona is looking to even up the NLCS in Game 4 versus Philly. ESPN radio coverage gets underway at 6:30 on 94.9 The Fan. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt. And I think he's going to coach him up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. So the Titans are 2-4, we all know that. Everybody around here is down on them, we all know that. A lot of you are just sell at the trade deadline, tear it apart, get rid of Derrick Henry, get rid of DeAndre Hopkins, just blow it up, which I'm not sure I completely agree with. But the one reason why I can't put my foot down, and I do think the Titans have some serious issues, but the reason why I can't put my foot down and just say this season is over, this team is dead, this thing is done, is because 4 years ago, the Titans were 2-4 and ended up in the AFC Championship game. Now, we can dissect the difference between what that team is now and what that team was then, but I can't just throw a giant blanket over it and say, well, that team was more talented, and then start listing off the players that they had that had to play well in order for them to win a bunch of these games. Because at that point in time, I'm not sure that we were feeling as if this was a very talented team. But I don't know that. I can't remember exactly what happened 4 years ago. So what I decided to do was to go back in time, to go back to 2019 when the Titans were making the quarterback switch to Ryan Tannehill at 2-4 on a season in which the Titans had missed out the year before the playoffs in the last game of the season. The prove-it year for Mariota, he was now done. The Titans, we thought, might be a playoff caliber team at 2-4, embarrassing on offense. How did we feel back then? And remember, I am not willing to say this team's going to miss out on the playoffs. I'm not willing to say that this season is over. This is how I was feeling in October of 2019 with the Titans at 2-4 on the then Jared and the GM program. I just want to go to the playoffs. I thought this team before the year was going to the playoffs. It's time to get back to the playoffs. It's time to be good again. And I'm sitting there today watching Vrabel borderline tears talk to the media, and I'm thinking to myself, it's October 16th, and the playoffs are gone. Gone. Just want some playoffs. That's all I want. I mean, I remember when Suck-Up.
I thought you wanted 12-4.
Well, that was my demand.
How's that going?
Okay, so I went into the year, and I didn't think the Titans were going to go 12-4. I think my preseason prediction was 11-5, but I was saying after the Titans lost the year before that it was time for them to be 12-4.
Similar to expectations this season.
Yes, it was time to be good again. That's how I felt going into the 2019 season was, okay, enough of being almost good. It's time to be good. And then the Titans started off 2-4, and as you could tell right there, I wanted the playoffs. I wanted to be good again. I wanted to end up in the AFC Championship game, which they did. So I had given up. This year, I haven't totally given up. Now, here's where the difference is, right? Because I asked Floyd, the voice of reason, about whether or not Ryan Tannehill taking over as quarterback could turn this thing around. Here's what the GM said. If Ryan Tannehill is going to get this team to the playoffs, how is he going to do it?
I mean, not screw it up. I mean, the defense is good enough. The punter's good enough. The kicker, when he gets back, will be good enough. I mean, you look at the vast majority of areas on this team, and they're good enough. But they've got to, the offensive line has to play better, as we know, and the quarterback's got to play better. And if he can just go out there, you know what? He doesn't have to score 30 points. He doesn't have to, give us 17 points. Go out there. It's like what we say about Marcus. Be 18 for 25 for 2 TDs, 200 yards.
Titan ball.
We're in. We can win games that way. But, I mean, we can't have 83 yards or whatever it was.
So he's telling you right there. Tannehill's just got to go in and not screw it up. Defense is good, punter's good, kicker's good. And that's a little different than this team, right? The defense isn't good. The defense can't cover. That defense was holding teams to 16 points a game when they made the switch to Tannehill. Now, they didn't finish at 16 points a game, but at that point, they were holding teams to 16 points a game. This defense is not doing that. This special teams. The punter every now and then will punt a nice one, down at the 8-yard line, something like that. But they gave up a 70-yard return last week. They got a punt blocked at New Orleans, probably cost them the game. They muffed a punt. Now, that team was not doing that back then. Now, they struggled kicking the ball at that point, which this team doesn't struggle. And he's talking about when Suck-Up got back healthy that he'd be able to fix that, and he did not. But it was almost like Mariota was just giving them nothing. And the line was a mess. But the difference with the line then and the line now is that at that point in time, Taylor Lewan had just returned from his PED suspension. So he and Roger Saffold were gluing together, but that's a $15 million left tackle and a $12 million left guard. You don't have that. You have a discount left tackle, and you've got a $12 million left guard who should be playing left tackle. Floyd continued about the style of play that the Titans needed to have in order to win the rest of the season. Do you think that you can beat the Texans doing that?
Well, no, you're not going to win every game that way.
Well, you can lose 2 more and get into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, you can't. No, you're not going to be able to win every game that way. And I throw those numbers around, loosely, because we all know there are going to be games you're going to have to go out and score 25 or 30 or whatever it is to beat whoever the really good team is. But I'm talking about the games that we always complain about. And I'm talking about if you look at what's happened these first 6 weeks, if you score 17 points, you maybe 5-1 or something like that. I'd have to look at the scores, but you maybe win every game. So that's what we're asking for. And I think he can do that.
And I was thinking about that, about the idea of, we're not asking for you can't win every game this way, but we're not asking for these massive, unbelievable changes to the Titans, are we? We're asking you to stop the run at Indianapolis. Do you think you can do that? Like, talking about the Titans, do you think, regardless of adding new players or changing coaches or just, do you think that if you sat down with the 11 guys on defense right now and you said, hey, can you stop the run better than you did against Indianapolis? Don't you think they'd say yes? Don't you believe that even the group they have now should have been able to stop the run better than they did in the Indianapolis game? When you look at the special teams, and we know the special teams coach sucks, but don't you think, hey, can you not muff the punt? Can you not give up the big return? Because that cost you the game. That cost you the game on Sunday. Forget about all the other stuff. You got your quarterback on crutches. You can't line up properly on a big. If you stop that punt, that's 3 points. If you don't allow that field goal that you muffed the punt, that's 3 points. That's 6. Now you're asking Malik to drive you down the field, your 1st and goal at the 1 to win the game. Totally different, right? The Saints game. And boy, that Saints game, that one hurt. Because I don't know if you guys watched the Saints last night. That team freaking stinks. And you had every chance to win the Saints game. And this is why I think they have to bench Christian Fulton. And I know they never will, and they all lie, and they say that he's good. But all of these just massive screw-ups on defense outside of the run, not being able to stop the Colts, it's just because Christian Fulton's not covering his guy. That's it. So, they can do that. 3 of their losses, they have 4 of them. 3 of their losses, they can win simply by playing better. Now, they can't protect the quarterback, and that's a big problem. But that team in 2019 had their warts. They couldn't rush the passer. But when Tannehill got in there and he stopped screwing it up, that boy Mariota was, they started to win some of these games. But then what I found to be fascinating was Vrabel. Vrabel got up there the other day, and, I thought he could have been asked some tougher questions, but Vrabel got up there and talked about the team, and, he's been very defiant, and we're not going to quit. But listen to Vrabel, and I know we always joke about the got to play better, got to coach better, but that's not very sincere. We talk about accountability. And when Vrabel gets up there and talks about, this is pro football, guys need to do their jobs and things like that. This is how he sounded at 2-4 in 2019.
I'm just frustrated with, the job that I've done right now through 6 games to try to lead the team, to get them to understand the keys each week. Sometimes frustrated with, a play here or a play there that you'd like to have back from players that you have a lot of confidence in, that that's probably not their best play. But it's about winning. It's about coming to work every day, working hard, trying to give them the same message that they will need to win the game. And that started this morning with a squad meeting and laid out the keys and tried to talk to them, showed them tape. We'll put the game plan in, and then we'll practice and we'll make corrections.
That doesn't sound like this Vrabel, does it?
No.
That was a kinder, softer, less agitated Mike Vrabel. And when we talk about, is the message still getting through, or did Vrabel forget how to coach, or I'd say go take a listen to that and compare it to what we're listening to now. But that's what it was like in 2019. Somebody texted in and said, was that audio from 2019 recorded on a Nokia phone? Let me just say this. That was at Boomba's Craft Pizza and Tap House out in East Nashville, which would later get rolled through by the tornado. But I remember being there the day that they made the quarterback switch official to Ryan Tannehill. And I remember that like it was yesterday. And the calls about, we don't want Justin Herbert in the draft because we don't want another Oregon quarterback. And nobody was thinking playoffs that day. Nobody was thinking AFC title game that day. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And a lot of you have texted in and said, you missed the voice of the old man. Trust me, I do too. And I tweeted this out yesterday. This is when I was looking for that audio. I cannot tell you how many times that I'll be looking for a clip on the old Jared and the GM podcasts, and I will think to myself, I will hear myself cut the old man off when he is making an excellent or prophetic point. And I will think to myself, dude, shut up and let the old man talk. Miss those days. Corey Curtis, News 2. He'll join us next. His thoughts on the Titans at 2 and 4. We'll do that. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Put Lee Company on your team and stay ahead of the game with home maintenance, improvements, and repairs. For only $12 per month, you'll receive 4 visits to your home each year by an experienced technician and discounts on service calls, parts, and labor. You'll also receive priority service with no emergency service rates. Let Lee Company keep your air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, and heating systems in tip-top shape. Visit LeeCompany.com today and schedule your first appointment online. Lee Company, all you need.
Get Black Friday deals earlier than ever at Electronic Express. Get the gifts you want and save up to 40% throughout the entire store. Beat the crowds and save on hundreds of 4K TVs, appliances, computers, and more. Plus, get up to 36 months free financing on items like a Samsung 65-inch 4K TV, now only $549, or a stainless steel refrigerator, only $499. Black Friday deals are here at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
The new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium is here. Switch to my plan from Verizon at your local store today, and you'll get the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro on us with unlimited ultimate when you trade in any iPhone, any model, any condition. Guaranteed. Yep, even the old phone in your pocket right now. It's your Verizon. $999.99, 128 gigabyte only. Device payment purchase or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on unlimited ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in or promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah. And like us on Facebook, too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, we got a pair of tickets to give away for a show tomorrow. Let's go ahead and do that now since I'm in a good mood. We call her 5 right now at 615-737-1025 on this Fireball Hot Take Friday. You'll win a pair of tickets to see Patton Oswalt live at City Winery tomorrow for the 10 p.m. show. Titans are 2 and 4. They're off this week. Jacksonville won yesterday. Houston's off. Indianapolis plays Cleveland. And so you're not going to get a lot of help this weekend. Corey Curtis joins us from News 2 here on the program. Corey, the state of the Titans. Is there any fixing this football team?
Sure. I mean, fixing it enough? Maybe not. But there certainly is fixing this football team. I mean, I think there's definitely room for the offensive line to be better. You know, you got the whole Petit Frere Dillard conversation. And, you know, to me, you got one guy who can at least run block, and you can help him out with pass protection. The guy who was there can't do either. So, you know, I think that if they can start to run the football with consistency, I think that could help them. And they got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback. There's too much money and too much capital invested on that front four. It was what I pointed to at the beginning of the season as the reason they would be in a chance to win every game. And really, they have had a chance to win every game. They just haven't done it. Not every game, most of their games. But, you know, those guys have got to tune it up. You know, you get those two things a little bit more on track, and I think you'll see some better results. You know, are they a Super Bowl contender? No. Those are March and April issues.
Corey, do you think that Mike Vrabel still has the magic to turn the team around the way he did 4 years ago? Or do you think it's a different team and it's a different Vrabel, or maybe Vrabel's message no longer works the same way that it did back then?
I think that team had considerably more talent than this team. Would you not agree?
Well, it's easy to say that now that we know the end story of that team.
Well, I mean, you had Taylor Lewan on that team. You had Roger Saffold on that team.
But we hated Roger Saffold at that point in the year. He was terrible at that point in the season.
Yeah, well, the first 4 to 6 games of the season, he was not good. But they got it together, right? And so that's kind of what we're talking about with this offensive line. Can they get it together?
Which I vote, by the way, not to cut you off, I vote no. Like, that team did, because they brought, you know, Lewan comes back and Nate Davis gets healthy. This team does not have a Lewan coming back, and
that's right.
I'm not even sure they really have a Nate Davis either.
No, they don't. And Roger Saffold had a track record. Mm-hmm. And so his struggles early were a bit of a surprise because he had a track record, and he got it going. You know, especially when Taylor Lewan got back. That team also had A.J. Brown, and it had Corey Davis. And did it not have Delaney Walker?
Delaney kind of got phased out. That was the year.
Okay, but they had Jonnu. But they had Jonnu Smith. They had Johnny Smith, who's having a resurgence with the Falcons this year. Imagine that with Arthur Smith. So, I mean, they may not have had as many good defensive players up front overall as this one does. I can't remember who all they had. But I think on the offensive side, there was certainly a lot more to work with. Adam Humphries was on that team as well. And Derrick Henry. And was DeMarco on that team and he got hurt? No, he was already done?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then Derrick Henry was on that team. And Deion Lewis.
Deion Lewis was, in fact, on that team. What I remember about that turnaround was the fact that, you know, they played 2 very, very close games. They made the switch to Tannehill. In fact, they made the switch to Tannehill 4 years ago today. You know, Tannehill may be doing the ankle alphabet right now in the training room, but I hope he does know that 4 years ago today, the Titans made the switch to Tannehill. They played the Chargers. And I was talking to TD about this yesterday, Corey. They won that game by 1 inch against the Chargers. Yeah. And then they won against Tampa Bay the next week on a bad call. I look at these 2 games that are coming up, Atlanta and Pittsburgh. And I don't think either game's going to be easy, and they're probably going to have a backup quarterback in there for those. But I think if they can get the Atlanta and Pittsburgh games, then the season can get back on track. Do you have faith that they can eke those 2 out, especially with Tannehill probably not playing for one, maybe both games?
I look, it will not be easy. I do think if they can defensively turn it up, and I have to imagine they're going to commit to running the football harder with whoever they've got at quarterback. So I do think they've got a chance against the Falcons. I view the Falcons as a must-win football game. You know, as you look at the forward of the season, you know, we mapped this out on TN Nation coming up on Saturday night after the late news on News 2. There's my plug. 2 games that I think are critical to them the rest of the way. Number 1 is the next one, the Atlanta Falcons. You don't want to be 2-5. You do not want to be 2-5 with your next 3 all on the road. That would be terrible. So you've got the Falcons, and then the last of those 3 is the Jaguars in Jacksonville. If you can just win those 2 games, the Falcons and the Jaguars, you're okay in my book. Yes, you're not great, but you're okay at that point.
Corey Curtis, News 2, is our guest. What do you make of the division now that Jacksonville won again last night?
They're clearly better. I still don't think that they're what everybody else thinks that they seem to be, that they're the Super Bowl contender. I don't see that. And by the way, I owe them a big apology on Christian Kirk. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that contract. That guy's a good football player, and he's given them every penny that they paid him. They got a break. Foster Moreau, he's got to catch that ball without question. I mean, it's right in his hands. I mean, he was in tears on the sideline. But I have to say I was wrong about the Texans and Colts. They're both much, much better than I thought they were. I think the Texans are really the more surprising one when you look at the amount of points that they are putting on the board with a rookie quarterback and with their two best offensive linemen and a third one also down. They're doing it with all backups up front.
No, they've gotten them back. I mean, they got their $30 million tackle back and their $20 million guard and their other guard. I mean, all those guys are back.
Is Titus Howard back?
Yeah.
Okay, so Titus Howard is back. But they've put up points without those guys, and now they're continuing to do it. I mean, they could have made excuses and lost every game to start the season, and they didn't. And they've got a quarterback who's making plays. He's a rookie, and he is making plays. And he is taking them up and down the field. And he's got, Nico Collins. Is Tank Dell healthy, or is he still hurt?
Tank Dell's done a little bit. I mean, it's Nico Collins, Robert Woods, and Dalton Schultz is kind of their passing attack.
And Dalton Schultz is a good NFL player.
Well, I'll say this about Nico Collins, Corey. I think that by the end of the year, he's going to be a number one in the NFL. He reminds me of Amon-Ra St. Brown in Detroit, where he doesn't get the hype that all the other good receivers get, but he's really a really, really good player. That's what I see out of Nico Collins.
It's not a stellar unit, though. It's not a stellar unit. I mean, we can all agree on that. But they are getting it done, and they deserve absolutely a ton of credit. And you looked at that as two probable wins, and now you can't. Now you're like, holy cow, are they going to sweep us? You're just like, wow. And so, you have to look at it and say, what's going to happen there, because the division is much, much better than we've come accustomed to, frankly. I don't know that, and I might be an idiot for saying this, I don't know that Gardner Minshew costs them any. I mean, I think they might be better in Indy with Gardner Minshew for the rest of the way. I don't know. I mean,
I don't disagree with you on the Minshew point. Corey Curtis, News 2, is with us. Levis or Willis? Let's say Tannehill is down for the Falcons game. Do you put Willis out there, who we all know stinks, or do you put Levis out there, who we don't know if he stinks, but with no offensive line and no receivers, it's really hard to envision him not stinking?
It's difficult for us to make this decision because we don't get to see what they see in practice every day. We did for training camp, and we got to see some of it, and we can make excuses for Malik that he was thrust into a tough situation, and he was. That doesn't take away from his inability to release the football, and that's what always gets me, is this continued clutching of the football. Look, it's a big quarterback draft, and I hate the notion of you got to see what Will Levis has got. But I think you got to see what Will Levis has got. And that you could talk me out of it. I'm not 100% convicted on it, but I feel like a jerk saying it. I mean, I've seen enough of Malik. I have, and maybe he'll be good in a few years. I hope he is. He's a heck of an athlete, and they didn't do anything in college to prep him for this, and that's quite obvious. So it's going to take some time. But that was the talk about Will. Was that the offense at Kentucky prepped him for this. They viewed him as a first-round pick. They tried getting back up in the first round to take him. First-round picks play. I think he's got to go out there and play.
Here's my problem on the Levis front, and Joe gets so mad every time I bring this up, but
Well, Joe just gets mad at everything you say. So
there's some truth to that. But
yeah,
the offensive line's terrible. The receivers are terrible. The tight ends are terrible. And the only thing they really have going for them is the running back. And if you put Levis into that spot, I hear you say, we got to see what you have in Levis. But how are you going to – I mean, Ryan Tannehill's QBR is dead last or 31st or whatever it is in the NFL, and Tannehill has not been the 31st best, worst whatever you want to call it, worst quarterback in the NFL. You know that, and I know that. That Tannehill's got no line. You got Nick Westbrook-Akine dropping touchdowns. DeAndre's dropping a touchdown. Tannehill is not the problem with this team.
But let's be honest. He's missed some people. All right?
Tannehill?
Yes, he's missed some people.
Tannehill had a bad game against the Saints. Other than that, I think Tannehill's played great.
He had a missed touchdown pass to Nick Westbrook-Akine that needed to be completed. Yes, and that ball needed to be completed, and that was on him. He had Chris Moore wide open for a touchdown, and he didn't let go of the football. Those are on him. Does that mean I'm blaming everything on him? No, but those opportunities can't get missed. He can't miss those opportunities. He makes $27 million a year, all right?
But
He's
my
got to
point
make
is,
those plays. And my point is that great quarterbacks elevate the players around them.
But nobody's great as a rookie.
Jared, C.J. Stroud is elevating that football team.
The Texans have the 5th highest payroll in the NFL, Corey. He's got a $30 million tackle. He's got a $20 million guard. He's got another $12 million guard, and he's got a $3 million tackle who you were too cheap to sign.
But he did it without those guys. When those guys were hurt, he was still producing.
I mean, he threw for 199 yards, and they beat the Saints last week. He had a couple of throws that were wow throws. He wasn't incredible. This idea that, like, oh, well, C.J. Stroud, it's like people will say, Joe Burrow overcame a bad offensive line. Will Levis is not Joe Burrow. Nobody thinks that Will Levis is Joe Burrow.
Because he hasn't played.
But he's not Joe Burrow, Corey. You know he's not Joe Burrow.
You know what? I don't think he is. But you know what I won't know? I won't know if he is or not until he plays. Okay, what did you think Brock Purdy was before he got out there?
Brock Purdy has an incredible infrastructure around him. If you put Brock Purdy on the Titans, he would stink.
It doesn't matter. If you put Blaine Gabbert out with that football team, what do you think the 49ers
I totally
would look
disagree,
like?
And I'll tell you why. Because I believe, and I think Sam Darnold's actually pretty good. Like, I thought last year when Carolina, after they fired Matt Rule and they got rid of Baker Mayfield and they made Darnold the quarterback, Darnold almost got them into the playoffs. I think if Sam Darnold were the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, their record would be the exact same.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm telling you, Purdy has the best infrastructure of any quarterback. He's got the best receivers, the best left tackle, the best coach.
Infrastructure in Philly as well. They're both set up to succeed.
Yes, and you don't have that for your young quarterback.
He's the last pick of the draft. The last pick of the draft, and he's killing it, okay? He's killing it. Nobody knew that. Look, you put the last pick of the draft at quarterback in with any team, you're holding your breath. You can't – no one's expecting the last pick of the draft to come out and win his first 9 football games.
But what is the point in comparison to Will Levis? Like, what does this have to do with Will Levis with Brock Purdy? That they played Brock Purdy last year and he had success?
Quarterback until they get out there. They got to play. Nobody knew what Tom Brady was until he played. He was a 6th-round pick.
My point is,
he had to play.
You will not know what Levis is capable of because the team around him sucks.
You know what you will see? If he's better than what's around him.
Purdy's not better than what's around him. Brady wasn't better than what was around him when he was a rookie. Or his second year.
My point is simple, Jared. At that position, especially, you don't know what you got until you roll it out there.
Not as rookies.
Oh, God.
Like, we did this. Like, the rookie quarterbacks that have success because of the program with which they're in. There's no rookie quarterback that comes into the league and puts the team on his back. And even when they are good, right? You saw Vince Young as a rookie. Vince Young was awesome as a rookie. That does not guarantee that he's going to be good down the road. So when you say you got to see what you have in Levis, I'm telling you that you're not going to be able to see what you have in Levis because the infrastructure around him is horrendous. And 2, even if he does do well, that's no guarantee that he will be a franchise quarterback. Mac Jones looked good his first year.
I understand what you're saying, okay? I totally understand what you're saying. But you learn way more about them seeing them play than not seeing them play, all right? You do. I mean, what do we know about Malik because he's played?
Well, we know Malik sucks.
Okay, and would we know that if he had never played to this point, we'd be sitting here saying, well, should Malik play or not? Well, he said a year and a half of practice, he should be ready to go. But we wouldn't know because he didn't play. They got to get out there and play to show can they handle the situation, all right? Look, is the situation ideal? No. You know what? If it was ideal, he wouldn't have been drafted.
So then what is your expectation for him when he goes out there? Like, what do you expect him to be able to do?
To not be overwhelmed, to be able to handle the spotlight, to be able to run an NFL offense, to be able to make decisions quickly. Look, I don't expect him to be Joe Montana or Roger Staubach. I do want to see if he's got the ability of a first-round pick. That's what I want to see.
Fireball Hot Take Friday. What's your hot take this week?
I think Tyreek Hill is the MVP, and it's not even close. I mean, everybody – look, Tua is fine. I mean, he's a good quarterback, and he's having a great year. But look at Pat Mahomes misses Tyreek Hill. Pat Mahomes is still great, but he misses Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is on pace for a 2,000-yard season, and he is as close to uncoverable as I have ever seen. The cheetah is unbelievable, and I think he is the most valuable offensive piece in the league.
Did you think that Tua was as good as you do now before they went out and made the trade for Hill?
No.
Because the infrastructure for the quarterback matters, Corey.
He was awful when they came here. Okay.
Yes.
He has gotten. Okay. Let me talk. He has gotten better. He's gotten with a coach who's worked with him better. And yes, the infrastructure is clearly better around him. But he was also throwing some horrific passes. He got better. Okay. He got better. I don't expect Willis to come out and be. Or Levis to go out and be great, okay? I want to see if he can handle the situation or if he's a disaster like Malik has been.
Corey Curtis, News 2, as always, on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Now I have to react to everything that you just said, Corey, which I feel like I did with you here, but I'm also going to do without you.
You've been reacting the entire time.
I know. And now I have even more reaction. Because I think what you're saying just doesn't make any sense, and I love you, but you're in there with everybody else that just forgets about all the warts on this football team.
So who do you want to play? You want to play Malik?
So, as much as I can't stand Malik, there's a part of me
because the rest of the team stinks, in your opinion.
That I'm worried about ruining the quarterback. I am worried about putting the quarterback.
So you're worrying about David carring him. That's what you're worried about.
Tim couching him. Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a fine argument. I can accept that argument, okay? I just need to see if the kid can play or not, all right? If I got to protect him after that, I'll protect him after that. I need to see if he can play.
Well, you covered David Carr, right, in Houston?
Yep, his rookie year, yep.
Did you think that he could play even though that team was horrible?
Yep. Yeah, he had a cannon. I mean, he had a rocket, and he had Andre Johnson, and they threw the ball. They got him killed. That team was so poorly put together and coached, and they just got him killed. You could see it in year 2 and then in year 3 as, you know, he was just a wounded puppy back there. As soon as he took the snap, he was looking to see where the rush was coming from, and you know what? He had every right to be. They absolutely ruined him. That kid had a lot of ability. I don't know that he would have ever been a star. He had a lot of ability, though, and he stood no chance.
Corey Curtis, News 2, as always, joining us on the program. A very lively edition here. It's almost like you're Joe Rexrode or Paul Kaharski. Appreciate you, Corey.
Thanks. Talk to you later.
All right, to your phones on that because a lot of you want to weigh in on it. But again, I just don't think that you want to see what you have in Will Levis. We need to see what they have in Will Levis. How are you going to be able to see what you have in Will Levis when you have nothing around him? Stillman and Company, Fireball Hot Take Friday, 102.5, 106 The Game.
All the big plays.
And we are done. Vandy 24-21.
All the big stories.
I'm sure Vandy will be a much better team if Clark Lee is the coach.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063.
What a stop by UC Sarah.
Then he wouldn't end up on my team.
Driving his way to victory lane.
I think that's the right strategy.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Some people put off things that need doing. Not you. Harbor Freight knows you're a today's the day kind of person. And I'm on it kind of person. A bring it kind of person. So if you're rolling up your sleeves today and you don't want to overpay for tools, you're a Harbor Freight kind of person. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Penalty Box Radio Live is back. Join Alex Doherty and Sean Smith every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for a full hour of local hockey talk, full analysis of the Nashville Predators. Honest hockey talk like you've come to expect from the Penalty Box Radio brand over the years. Penalty Box Radio is back home on 102.5 The Game for the 2023-2024 hockey season. For more, check them out at penaltyboxradio.com.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. This is your dentist. Do me a favor and feel the front of your teeth. How grimy are they? Ugh. It's time for a Crest Pro Health reality checkup. That grime is the buildup of plaque bacteria that can cause cavities in just months. You need to switch to Crest Pro Health. While most toothpaste stop working in minutes, Crest Pro Health's antibacterial fluoride protects for up to 12 hours to stop cavities before they start. So pick some up on the way home. Smile. Crest has you covered.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The line can't protect him. And so if they go in and run the same kinds of plays that they're running with Tannehill, then they're asking Will Levis to do at the highest level what NFL quarterbacks need to do to protect themselves the most. That is to read the defense, know where the ball needs to go, and get it out quickly. That's why it's hard to hit Tom Brady, because the ball's out of his hands right now because he knows where to go with it, and he goes there with quick decisions. And Levis is not in a position to protect himself in that way. And so he would end up developing bad habits. He would drop back to throw, and as he would get hit over and over again, as he would have the pressure coming way sooner than it should, over and over again, he would now develop the habit of looking down at the rush and trying to avoid the rush rather than keeping his eyes up, trusting his protection, and going through his progressions.
There you go. That was Trevor laying out to you why the Titans, as currently constructed, could ruin Will Levis. And everybody just, we got to see what we have. And I expected better out of Corey. You know, it's one thing for Joe to say that. I expect better out of Corey Curtis than to say, well, I need to know, I need to see. Look at what Brock Purdy did last year. You mean Brock Purdy with the Hall of Fame left tackle, the best offensive coach in the NFL, a top defense, the number 2 tight end in the league, Christian McCaffrey at running back, 3 receivers? That's different. Well, look at what C.J. Stroud's doing. You mean C.J. Stroud with the 5th highest payroll in the NFL with a $30 million tackle, a $20 million guard, a $12 million guard, a $3 million tackle, an $8 million receiver, an emerging number 1 receiver, another $2 million receiver, a $6 million tight end? You mean the guys that don't have Chigakonkwo on their team? Just crazy talk to me. I just don't get it. Wes in Clarksville says on a Fireball Hot Take Friday, I want to see Will Levis too. But do you think this team will be drastically improved next year with only 5 picks? I think the Titans are going to have to spend some serious money next year on the football team. If they let Derrick Henry go, which I think is definitely something worth discussing, if that's the right decision to let Derrick Henry go in the offseason, and you don't have Tannehill, you got a rookie quarterback, I think you're going to have to go into free agency and you're going to have to buy your way to being good. You're going to have to do what the Texans did, which is spend serious cash. Like whoever the best left tackle is, you're going to have to buy them. You're going to have to buy a tight end next year because it doesn't look like the guys on the roster are starting NFL tight ends, and you're not going to be able to draft the tight end because you're going to need to draft other more important things as well. Texter into the text line says, on Willis, you say you've seen enough. On Levis, you say you can't evaluate him because he's not surrounded by good players. Now, I've seen enough from Malik Willis because I watched Malik Willis play last year. Malik Willis is not a rookie. Malik Willis jumped back in bounds last week. I know Will Levis isn't going to do that. I can't tell you whether or not. Here's the thing about the difference between good and bad. It's very hard to tell if somebody is going to be good right away. We see that in baseball all the time, right? Guy's red hot swinging the bat, and then he kind of falls off. After year 1, people thought Tampa had found their quarterback in Jameis Winston. Last year, people thought after his rookie season, Mac Jones was going to ascend in year 2. We watched Vince Young win the Rookie of the Year. Mariota, after year 2, people here thought he was a franchise quarterback. It's hard to know after the first year. Lamar Jackson had a disastrous playoff performance against the Chargers as a rookie. People thought he was terrible. Had a decent rookie season, but people didn't. So it takes time to prove you're good. It doesn't take time to prove how bad you are. And Malik's had enough opportunities. I mean, he threw for 85 yards in a preseason game. And I told you, if you can't throw for 100 yards in a preseason game against Minnesota's backups, you ain't very good. That's the difference. Texter says, I want to see if Levis is going to fight or flee like I saw him do at Kentucky. No weapons for was Georgia. And all you people did was tell me about how bad they were. And I went and watched a tape, and I'm like, the only reason they're in the ball game is because he's their quarterback. The only reason. You all didn't even like that they picked him because he, got crushed by Tennessee. Come back and watch a tape. Throws one ball right through a guy's hands on third down. They have to punt. Tennessee scores. He's driving down the field, throws the ball, hits a receiver in the hands. Receiver gets hit by the DB. Ball pops in the air, gets intercepted, and now they're chasing the game. And then you just said, he sucks. So it's easy to say now, I want to see how tough he is. I want to see if he goes out there and if he – that's not really how all this works. Texter said, look at what Brock Purdy did last week when everybody got hurt. Brock was playing an elite defense, but I hear you. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. I see your phones. I promise we're right to them next. 615-737-1025 here on the program. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. You know I love Hiller. They've been taking great care of my home. They can do the exact same for you. That's right. It's October, so if you have some things around your home that you've been putting off fixing, like your regular HVAC maintenance or a clogged bathroom drain, Hiller has big discounts this month. When the temperatures drop and you start using your heater for the first time, you do not want to be dealing with breakdowns and issues. And this month, Hiller is offering half off HVAC tune-ups. And Hiller is bringing back their $99 drain cleaning special. For just $99, Hiller will get you back up and running. These deals only last this month, so be sure to call now. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy OB or Services Free guarantee, and I know this because I use Hiller at my home. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Blue Raider fans, your home for all the MTSU football and men's basketball action is on 93.3 Classic Hits and 95.1 Classic Hits in the borough. Catch the action all season long with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
Let's see. That one. Wait, I didn't see this one.
We apologize. When you have as many microbrews on tap as we do, we know it can be hard to make a decision. Don't worry. We're patient.
Wow. Let me see here.
Bar lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Incredible apps and salads, delectable burgers and wraps featuring local Tennessee whiskey and local brews on tap and live music 7 days a week. The decision is obvious. Bar lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Rudy Gatlin of the Gatlin Brothers. Larry, Steve, and I would like to invite you to join us for the second annual Blood Assurance Celebrity Golf Tournament Monday, October 23rd at the beautiful Hermitage Golf Course. All proceeds benefit local high schools through the Blood Assurance Heroes Grant Fund. There are going to be a lot of great prizes, but one lucky player will win a trip for two to play golf in Ireland. To sign up and for more information, go to bloodassurance.org/celebrity-golf. Come on and join us.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
I'm Tamron Hall. Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, with more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Keeping it local.
The Titans get a big win. Well, Derrick Henry's on the field. It's like, all right, what's going to happen?
And fun.
Bad time to get Florida. They're going to be mad. Oh, my goodness.
Every day, it's Chase McCabe.
I was sitting here going, I think I'm going to watch Batman 1989 tonight.
And Big Joe Dubin.
That's your plan for tonight? Probably, yeah. I need a night.
The Chase and Big Joe Show. Brought to you by Regal Realty Group. Weekdays at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
They damaged Tannehill. This was inevitable that he was going to be on crutches in a locker room in America, in London, wherever, based on what you put in front of him. There weren't a lot of alternatives at left tackle. That is an organizational failure. Rustin Webster was hated in this town. Rustin Webster drafted Taylor Lewan a year early, and he said, I saw what happened in Seattle when Walter Jones retired, and we were unprepared to replace him. John Robinson didn't have a vision to replace Taylor Lewan. Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel didn't have a vision to replace Taylor Lewan. And this, in concert with the other failed moves on the offensive line, is where you get your quarterback on crutches in an MRI tube, and it's on them.
There you go. That was PK on the organizational failure. Let's go to your phones as promised. DeJuan has been waiting patiently on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Thank you for waiting. What's up, DeJuan?
When they got 10 games left, I say you split it up. You say, Willis, you do the first 5. We already don't have trust in you, but here's your opportunity. You don't do good, you're out. We say, Levis, I know our offensive line is terrible, but you got 5-6 weeks to prepare. We'll give you a simple game plan. We need to know how to draft next year. You in or you out. Let's go.
You know Tannehill's going to play some games too, right?
Nope. Nope. We're trying to get draft picks, baby.
Yeah, I mean, that's not how they're going to operate. And I think that that's also kind of stupid. And, I mean, what's the point? DeJuan, thank you for your call.
What's the point of having Tannehill play? What's the point? He's not going to be here next year. Henry's not going to be here next year. We're thinking for the future.
Okay, again, the Titans were 2-4 4 years ago and ended up in the AFC title game. And so it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Titans get back into this. I think Jacksonville was 2-4 last year and won the division, in large part because you screwed up. But, again, that's kind of part of it. But my bigger thing here is, with Tannehill, you still have a chance to win games. With the other two, I'm not sure you do. And you're 5-5. That's just not realistic in the NFL. And Vrabel's not going to punt on a season. It's bad now. I listened to Boston radio, right before we came on. I was listening at 1 o'clock to Boston radio. And Ted Johnson, who played linebacker on those Patriot teams with Vrabel, his opening take was just about how great of a teammate and guy Vrabel was and how Vrabel's going into the Hall of Fame and how Vrabel's the smartest guy and the best player and the best guy and the best. I mean, just waxing poetically. And half the fans here don't even like Vrabel anymore. And so you think it's bad now. You played Willis for half the games. What do you think it'll be like then? Dan is up next on Malik Willis. Thank you for calling. What's up, Dan?
Hey, guys. I just wanted to talk about the counterpoint to the whole, letting him sit, don't let him get killed, the hyperbole surrounding Tim Couch and David Carr. I think the most, the closest thing to the counterpoint would be Jordan Love. You don't know what you have, and if you just sit there forever, let him simmer, you don't know what you have until it's too late, and then you're mired in mediocrity for even more years. And
is Jordan Love really that bad?
He's not good.
I mean, is he really that bad? You do realize Aaron Rodgers was 6-10 his first year as a starter too, right? We're going to hold him to the same standards we did Jordan Love?
I do understand that, but at the same time, Jordan Love, he would have had, Aaron Rodgers in front of him. That being the exception, it's not the situation here, obviously, but you're paying him like that. The best chance for you to be able to evaluate Will Levis with quality surrounding pieces like Hopkins, like Henry, you're not going to have that type of talent next year.
Yes, you are. Hopkins is signed through next year. Hopkins is on the team next year. You're going to be drafting next year. You're going to be signing free agents, and I hope the guys you sign next year are a whole hell of a lot better than Andre Dillard, because if they're not, then you're not going to win any games.
You've made it very clear that you don't believe that they're going to be bringing any more talent than what they already have, though, based off of who is the active GM behind the scenes, not with the actual title, though. So you might as well go ahead and put them out there and see what you have.
Again, you don't know, even if you do put him out there. Vince Young was the rookie of the year and made the Pro Bowl. Vince Young was the hottest thing in this town. Vince Young, I cannot state this. You guys are going to think this is crazy. Thank you, Dan. You're going to think this is crazy. Vince Young was more popular after his rookie year than Derrick Henry is now. I am dead serious about that. Vince Young was on the cover of Madden. Vince Young was that dude. And now people think Vince Young was a bust. Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. There's no way to know. You're talking about know what you have, know what you have. Mahomes didn't play as a rookie. Rodgers didn't play as a rookie. Brady didn't play as a rookie. The New England Patriots signed Drew Bledsoe to a $100 million contract. So this idea of, you got to figure out what you have, I'm not sure that really makes any sense, right? Like the Commanders, Desmond Ridder played 4 games last year, 6 games, and played fine. And they thought they had a quarterback, and now Desmond Ridder sucks. So there's no way to really know. I keep hearing what you're saying, but it doesn't add up. And there's another thing that, honestly, when it comes to Will Levis, I just don't get why people are just not interested in hearing reality of the NFL. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, we roll along on a Fireball Hot Take Friday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Green right, Fox 2 run, double catch. He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback. Wide 85, take! Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Oh, rock from the darker side. Disturbed. Take Back Your Life Tour. Saturday, February 17th. Bridgestone Arena. New album, Divisive. Available now. With special guest, Falling in Reverse. And Plush. Tickets are on sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Disturbed. Buy tickets at LiveNation.com.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You know, we've all felt the impact of inflation on everything from food to housing to gas. But most people don't realize the cost of your home and auto insurance is also likely to go up. With the rising cost of building materials, car parts, and labor, even the insurance companies are taking a hit, which means you will too. So if you're working with a company that only has one option and not a company that shops multiple carriers to find the best deal, you're wasting your money. It's why you should be working with Zander Insurance. They represent over 24 top insurance companies that are competing for your business, meaning you get the right home and auto coverage at the lowest prices this year and every year. And Zander's service can't be beat, I know from experience. Just check out their reviews. Saving money has to be a priority these days. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282 and find out how much you can save. You'll see why over 500,000 families trust Zander.
Now, your Game Center update.
Brought to you by Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of your Nashville Predators. The Tennessee Vols are looking to make it 2 wins in a row versus Alabama when they travel to Tuscaloosa to take on the Crimson Tide tomorrow. ESPN's Trevor Maddich on how the Vols could stay in the game this time around.
Jalen Milroe is getting better from a standpoint of his intermediate passes. But if you take away those deep passes, then Alabama does not have an edge with Milroe over Milton. You know, it's kind of a wash in those two quarterbacks. Maybe even Milton might have an edge if you are able to back up the secondary and take away the deep passes for Alabama. So this is actually a very fair fight. Now it's up to Tennessee to execute. It's up to them to not freak out in the moment.
Vols versus Bama is set for a 2:30 kickoff. The Nashville Predators got a good 4-1 win over the New York Rangers last night. They return home for a game tomorrow night versus San Jose with puck drop at 7. The Tennessee Titans are off this week, but elsewhere around the NFL, Bears quarterback Justin Fields and Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo will both miss their games this week with injuries. The Major League Baseball playoffs continue today as well. Game 5 of the ALCS between Houston and Texas with the series tied 2-2 begins at 4 o'clock. And coming up tonight, Arizona is looking to even up the NLCS in Game 4 versus Philly. ESPN radio coverage gets underway at 6:30 on 94.9 The Fan. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air. Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. So I really am struggling right now where I feel like it's everybody on one side of the argument and me on the other side of the argument. And normally, when one person thinks that they're right and every other person is arguing the other point and thinks that they're right, normally the group with the most amount of people arguing in that direction is right. When it's 1 versus 100, normally it's the 100 who are right. But not in this instance. This instance, I am right. And I think it is the impatience of everybody else who just doesn't want to see how reality works in the NFL. If you want a young quarterback to succeed, if that's Ben Roethlisberger who succeeded as a young quarterback, if that is Brock Purdy who succeeded last year as a young quarterback, if that's Tom Brady who succeeded in his second year, Patrick Mahomes who succeeded in his second year, if you want a young quarterback to have success, there has to be infrastructure around the young quarterback to carry him. Period. Full stop. That is any quarterback in the NFL as a rookie. If you want them to have success. Ian, how did the GM used to feel about rookie quarterbacks?
Well, it definitely took him a while. There's no big expectations year one.
He used to always say, you play a rookie quarterback, you're going to lose. And you have to know that going in. So all this talk about Will Levis, and again, when it comes to Malik Willis and Will Levis and the Falcons game, I can be talked into Levis playing a game. But I have serious reservations about it. What I cannot be talked into is we need to see what Will Levis is. I don't understand that. I don't understand what you think you're going to see out of Will Levis over the next, I don't know, let's say you play him the rest of the season. I don't know what you're going to be able to expect out of Will Levis with a defense that can't stop anybody from passing the football, a special teams unit which averages one massive screw-up a week, an offensive line that can't block, and receivers that can't get open and catch. What do you think's going to happen to Will Levis? And I hear the argument being, and Paul Kaharski kept saying, that's life in the big city. And I hear the argument being, well, a great quarterback overcomes it. Who? Dan Marino had success as a rookie. And guess what? Dan Marino didn't start until week 6, and they had the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins in 1983 had the number 1 scoring defense, which means the onus on Dan as a rookie with a Hall of Fame coach, one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest coach of all time, the onus on Dan Marino was, hey, just go out there, find Duper, we're going to run the ball. Dan, his rookie year, was throwing it about 22 times a game. This wasn't the 40 times a game that Dan would throw it later in his career. This team has no line, no receivers, 1 running back, and an average defense that constantly makes mistakes. And let's not forget another thing, too, when it comes to Will Levis. When he played at Kentucky last year, he had no offensive line. And he hurt his shoulder, his toe, and his finger last year. So you want to put him in the NFL and you want to get him killed? Because when they put him in the SEC and they got him killed, he was injured all of last year. He already got injured once in training camp. I didn't even see what happened in training camp, and I was right there. So do you want to get him hurt right away? Tannehill didn't get hurt on Sunday because Tannehill's a bad quarterback. Tannehill didn't get hurt because Tannehill's not tough. Tannehill didn't get hurt because Tannehill is prone to injuries. Tannehill had never gotten hurt until you put this crap offensive line in front of him last year. Now he keeps getting hurt over and over and over again. And as PK said, it was inevitable that that was going to happen. So you don't think that putting Will Levis behind this offensive line is going to get him hurt? And again, all the young quarterbacks that have success, I know it's easy to say, well, Peyton Manning had success when he was young. Not as a rookie because they were 3-13, and he set a record for the most interceptions. But Peyton Manning played with no pressure, had a Hall of Fame receiver in Marvin Harrison, a Hall of Fame running back in Marshall Faulk, 2 tight ends in Ken Dilger and Marcus Pollard. There was infrastructure around Peyton Manning. There was infrastructure around Tom Brady, believe it or not. Great defense. McGinnis, Seymour, Bruschi, Vrabel, Malloy, Law. In the Tom Brady documentary, Drew Bledsoe says he got in the huddle of the first training camp practice that year, looked at his offensive line and thought, we have a chance. Because he looked at an offensive line and thought, I've got some players on this team that can block for me. And that gives me all the time in the world. We've talked about C.J. Stroud, $30 million left tackle, $20 million left guard, $12 million right guard, $3 million right tackle that you weren't willing to sign. They paid to help C.J. Stroud out. And I understand Robert Woods isn't a number 1 wide receiver, but Robert Woods did lead your team in receiving yards last year. They signed him for $8 million. They signed a number 1 tight end, Dalton Schultz from the Dallas Cowboys, for $6 million. They've put good players around C.J. Stroud. They're setting him up for success. That's what good teams do. The dumb teams are the ones that ruin quarterbacks, like the Colts, the same group that ruined Andrew Luck, and now, oh, wow, their quarterback that should have been holding a clipboard while Gardner Minshew plays is now having shoulder surgery, is out for the year, and his rookie season has gone down the toilet. So if you put Will Levis out there because you want to see what you've got, you're not going to see what you've got. There's no way to know. Think about Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. Andy Reid drafted Patrick Mahomes with the long game in mind. Drafted Mahomes. They traded up to number 10. They drafted Mahomes, and as soon as they did, Andy said, amidst criticism, Andy said, he sits. Alex Smith plays. Everybody knew right away. You know what? That Chiefs team was a number 2 seed in the AFC. Or, oh, they could have. That team beat the Patriots in week 1. Crushed them in Foxborough. They had a receiver in Tyreek Hill, a tight end in Travis Kelce. You could have argued, hey, you need to get a really, really good player to go with that. No. Going to get the quarterback. We're going to sit him on the bench. And then when he plays, he's got the best tight end in the NFL, and he's got the fastest wide receiver in the NFL. They set him up for success. An organization that doesn't set their quarterbacks up for success is the Chicago Bears. They don't ever set their quarterbacks up for success. They draft Mitchell Trubisky, number 2 overall, with a lame duck coach in John Fox. They fire him. So immediately, Mitchell Trubisky has to learn a new offense. Again, you don't want to change this up on your young quarterbacks. So Trubisky has to learn a new offense. Who's been the best receiver for the Chicago Bears over the last 6 or 7 years? Did Mitchell have anybody over there? Now, you're probably looking at this and you're saying, up. Trubisky, he sucks anyways. Sure. But they changed the coach on him. They went out there. They didn't get him any good players to go around him. I was listening to Charles Robinson yesterday on Robbie and Joe. Ian, if you could. He was talking about Zach Wilson. And we all think Zach Wilson sucks. And see, this is why, off the top of your head, you can't think about these teams that ruin quarterbacks because you just assume that the quarterback sucks, that it's the quarterback's fault, that the quarterback is no good. You don't think about, wow, that team really ruined that quarterback. And Zach Wilson is a good example of this. Going into that draft, everybody thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be the number one pick. They had thought that Trevor Lawrence was going to be the number one pick since the time he was 19 years old. Then everybody thought Zach Wilson was the slam dunk choice for number two, that there was not even a discussion in it. And so the Jets drafted him. Their best receiver was Corey Davis. Their offensive line was a freaking mess. They had no running game. And they put Zach Wilson out there in the largest media market in the country, the largest football market in the world. Charles Robinson. Ian, we got that? Charles Robinson yesterday on Robbie and Joe. The Jets are able to reflect on this, and they don't think, oh, well, Zach Wilson sucks. Here's what Charles Robinson said.
I would relate it to a conversation I had with the Jets about Zach Wilson right in the midst of them trading for Aaron Rodgers. And, you know, people in that building were like, we should have redshirted him year one. Like, that was our mistake. Like, we never should have put him out there when we knew we were not going to be able to put our best foot forward around him. And it really screwed up his confidence significantly.
Okay, he's telling you the Jets think they screwed up Zach Wilson. Now, you all just think Zach Wilson sucks. You all think that Zach Wilson's success is because of Zach, or his failure is because of Zach Wilson. You think Mahomes' success is because of Mahomes. You don't think Andy and Tyreek and Travis and the year behind Alex Smith, that had nothing to do with it. Come on now. This league breaks quarterbacks. Why would you want to break your own quarterback? You're not going to see what Will Levis has if you put him out there because you don't have anything around him that would allow him to succeed. I see all of your phones. We're to them, 615-737-1025. And when it comes to Levis versus Willis, I think there is one very important difference here. And we'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. It's 102.5-106.3 The Game.
The Titans have come to the off week with more questions than answers.
What are you going to do at the quarterback position? If you're the head coach, shouldn't you know if your message is working or not?
What's next for the 2-4 Two-Tone Blue?
We're not getting any better. Things are getting worse.
But Tannehill's only hurt because your line can't block.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
City Winery presents Patton Oswalt Effervescent Tour live Saturday, October 21st at 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. The comedian, actor, and writer has found success in all areas of entertainment, from his award-winning comedy specials to his many memorable film and TV roles. Oswalt continues to choose work that inspires him and entertains audiences. You may know him as Principal Durbin on NBC's AP Bio. Patton Oswalt continues to make audiences laugh around the world. Don't miss Patton Oswalt this Saturday, 10/21 at City Winery. Get your tickets at citywinery.com.
Join 102.5 The Game and me, Chase McCabe, for the grand opening of Prince's Hot Chicken at the brand new Tanger Outlets in Antioch on Friday, October 27th from 12 to 2. Come hang out with The Suit for a chance to win Preds tickets and enjoy the best hot chicken in Nashville from Prince's Hot Chicken, Nashville's original hot chicken restaurant.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Those preseason reps are critical, but I've also, seen some really good practice reps, seen stuff through camp, and then just didn't feel like it was didn't feel like he was ready to go into games under those circumstances. Seeing a more comfortable player, just a more comfortable person, a rookie, it's a unique situation. And coming in this league as a quarterback with an existing quarterback with a player in his second year, that's unique, and I think he's handled that well. I think his comfort level and just being around here has improved.
There you go. That was Vrabel with a bunch of words, kind of hinting at something, but not really telling you how he felt about Levis, other than to say that he didn't make him active because he doesn't think he's ready. And yet we got to see what we have now. The cookies are not ready to be eaten. What we got to see now. Put that cookie in your mouth and it burns you. Let that cookie cool off sometimes, and boy, you've got a nice, delicious, wonderful chocolate chip cookie, which I kind of wish I was eating right now. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. James has been waiting patiently. He's up next on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. What's up, James?
Hey, what's going on, man? I personally want to see not Will Levis. I want to see Malik Willis get starter reps during practice, game plan for like the next two or three games until Tannehill's healthy. I don't think you do anything good by putting Will Levis in there because, first of all, he's not as athletic as Malik. And if you're going to play behind this line, you need to be athletic, first of all. Secondly, Malik is auditioning for 2 jobs on his team. Starting quarterback and backup quarterback.
I mean, I think starting quarterback's already left the barn on Malik, James.
If he makes a jump next year,
Malik sucks. And here's the thing about Malik. Malik's terrible. And here's the thing in which, the Falcons game we can have a discussion about. Thank you for your call, James. The Falcons game we can have a discussion about. I can be convinced that if they think Will Levis can handle it, to where the game plan is turn around and hand it to Derrick Henry, turn around and check it down and throw it short and, as Trevor would say, a very protective game plan of the quarterback. Now, if your defense gives up any points, you lose because you cannot play catch-up that way. But I can be talked into that for Will Levis, and I can kind of be talked into that for Malik Willis, but I just don't have any faith with Malik. My thing with Malik is this. I think they've already ruined Malik Willis. I don't know if Malik Willis ever has the talent to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, but I know that he'll probably never reach that potential. I said during training camp when he couldn't be hit and he looked like he was improving that his upside to me was that of Tyrod Taylor. And everybody was like, Tyrod Taylor, he's way better than Tyrod Taylor. I'm sorry, did you watch Tyrod Taylor on Sunday Night Football the other night? If his stupid coach would have kicked a field goal, Tyrod Taylor would have been able to beat the Bills. I mean, Tyrod Taylor is not a bad NFL quarterback. He's a backup, but he's not bad. Just like Gardner Minshew is not bad. He's a backup, but he's not bad. Malik's bad. And is it Malik's fault that Malik's bad? That can be debatable. There's a reason why the entire league passed on Malik 3 times before the Titans took him. He wasn't even their first third-round pick. They took PT in the third round before they took Malik Willis. Malik has athleticism, and he can throw the ball far. But other than that, Malik he's not accurate. He's not a good decision maker. And last year, I begged him in training camp, get a real backup quarterback. Redshirt Malik. But the Titans were too arrogant in order to do that. So they didn't. And because they weren't willing to do that, Malik had to go out there when Tannehill sprained his ankle, and now he's playing Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. And you ruined him. So why would you want to do that again with Levis? Whereas with Malik, to me, it's kind of over that, no, they've already made that mistake. They've already ruined that quarterback. One texter says, I can understand you not wanting to play Levis for the rest of the year, but wouldn't the Falcons game be a good game to see what he can do, since they might be a little worse than the Titans? Again, I can be talked into the Falcons game. The question that I would have for Vrabel, and think about this as if you owned the football team. The question that I would have for Vrabel going into the Falcons game is, can you put together, one, do you think that you would ruin Will Levis's confidence or hurt him physically with your offensive line? Like, if you don't think that Will Levis is advanced enough to be able to handle this for this week, don't play him. He's your future, and if he fails, you're fired, and you know that too. If you're Vrabel or you're Carthon, you know if he fails, you know you're fired. So, do you think that this Falcons game could have lasting repercussions on Will Levis? Case in point, Anthony Richardson. And I know I've said this, but Trevor Lawrence goes up to him after the first game and says, dude, you cannot play this way in the NFL. Like, you will not be able to survive taking these hits in this league. You cannot do that. Richardson gets concussed and he misses a game, and Richardson comes back, and now shoulder surgery out for the year. And now all the reps the rest of the season, Anthony Richardson loses. Now, this may be the best thing that ends up happening to Richardson, because it's a reality check that he's got to change his style of play. But you never want to get the quarterback hurt. And so if you don't think that Will Levis can handle the limitations that you're going to put on him, the training wheels that I would put on him if he were to go into this, if you don't think he can handle that, then he shouldn't play. But if you think he can, then you can convince me for the Falcons game. But if you think you're going to win any of these games with these games, like if you get into a 2-minute drill and you're asking Will Levis to throw you back into a game, it's going to be bad. Now, I hope it doesn't look as bad as Malik's 2-minute drill last year against the Chargers or against the Chiefs in overtime, but that's kind of what we're talking about. And confidence, I think, goes a far way. Texter says, the fact that you're perfectly fine with throwing Malik out there who sucks is crazy. Why would you defend this? If Malik is so bad, you're just okay to keep him out there losing games, ruining the team even more. The reason why is because the most important thing to me for this franchise is the development of the quarterback. You have decided that Will Levis is your quarterback of the future. There is no discussion on this. Like, there is none. When you made that choice in this draft, you decided that once you move on from Ryan Tannehill, it's going to be with Will Levis. You do not have the resources to draft another quarterback at this point. So that becomes the most important thing, period. I wish the GM were still here today. I would love to ask him, when he drafted Steve McNair in 1995, what was more important to the 95 Titans and the 96 Titans? Was it winning and losing games right then and there, or was it the development of Steve McNair? Floyd told me they had a 5-year plan for McNair. And guess what? Year 5, they went to the Super Bowl. Developing the quarterback is the number one thing for this franchise. So if that means losing games this season, and I am not a tanking kind of guy, But if it's, hey, we can play him, but we run the risk of hurting him, I'm not doing that. I'm not interested in that at all. Kyle's up next here on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Thank you for waiting. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, Jared. Yeah, I agree with the Will situation. I don't want to ruin him. We've been there, done that. So, the front office has got to be having this discussion. Do we keep our players, let Will get out there and see what he can do with them, or do we sell them, throw Malik out there, and just get what we can out of a season? The front office has to be talking about that. And you've already said that this is kind of a cheap organization. Do we trust them to revamp next year's team for Will? If we don't have draft picks to fix it, they don't have to buy them. If they're that cheap, do we trust them to do that, man?
Well, that's a much larger discussion for a different day, Kyle. I do appreciate your call. I mean, I do think that you're going to have to spend some money this year. Like, the Titans are going to have to spend money this year just for nothing else to protect Levis. That being said, as far as do you sell him and throw Malik out there, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think the Titans are going to sell. And quite frankly, I don't think the front office is having discussions like that. I think the front office is having discussions with, do you think Tannehill can play on that Thursday night at Pittsburgh? I mean, Vrabel even said, if Ryan can go, Ryan's quarterback. That means that even if Levis starts against the Falcons, if Tannehill can go against the Steelers, Tannehill goes. So they're not having the Willis-Levis discussions like you guys are, because they're not thinking about pissing away the rest of the season, because these are their jobs, and they know that if they do that they might lose them, and they don't want to do that. 615-737-1025. Back to your phones next. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Twice daily. You know I love Twice Daily. That's right. And there's not going to be a chance for you to get a free half sub this Monday, but maybe next Monday after the Falcons game. If the Titans score any points in the last 2 minutes of either half, there is a free half sub the next day for all loyalty members through the app. That's right. You score when the Titans score in the last 2 minutes on Mondays after a Sunday, or if there's a Thursday on a Friday. You know how this works. Download the Twice Daily app today and join the loyalty program to unlock special discounts, savings, and so much more. It pays to be a member with Twice Daily, where you earn points and save money with every visit. Get what you crave at Twice Daily. Made to order sandwiches, bakery, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, fresh items made to go, hot drink, cold drinks, and of course, stop by the beer cave to unwind with a cold one. If you're looking for convenience, Twice Daily has you covered. Twice Daily. Fresh all day.
All the big plays.
Rebound, try out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need more?
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Go big or go home. Unless you're part of Smashville. Because here, going big means you are home. Big hits. Big names. Big history. Big energy. Welcome to Smashville.
Preds fans, join us as we take on the San Jose Sharks this Saturday, October 21st at Bridgestone Arena. Secure tickets today at NashvillePredators.com.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
If he's not available, is it maybe time to take a look at Will?
It'll be one of those two guys if Ryan can't go. I don't know who that would be yet. We'll see, how they continue to practice. It'll be good to get them some work this week, maybe with some guys that they haven't necessarily worked with. They've been working on the show team during the season. So I'm excited to get both those guys some reps with some of our offensive guys and see how they handle that.
There you go. That was Vrabel. Ian, do you think that Vrabel knows who's going to play if Tannehill's out?
No, that's a good question. They probably have a pretty good idea. I do wonder if practice or anything could change their mind.
Who do you think? Do you think that Vrabel's made up his mind?
No.
If Vrabel's leaning one way or another, which way do you think he's leaning?
Malik Willis.
Boy, I tell you, as much as I want to protect Will Levis, because that's the most important thing for this franchise, and so I would accept it, I don't know if I can do watching Malik Willis play quarterback for this team. Like, I'm at the point where I'm thinking, okay, if protecting Will Levis is the number one thing, and I agree that it is, you may have to go get another Josh Dobbs. Like, you may have to go get a quarterback off of somebody's practice squad or a quarterback who's on the street and stick him out there. Because I don't know if I can do much more Malik Willis. Jacob has been waiting patiently and is up next on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. What's up, Jacob?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Go.
I'm trying not to sound like an a-hole when I say this, but you really contradicted yourself a few times when you discussed Will Levis over Malik Willis or Malik Willis over Will Levis. You stated quarterbacks can't suck initially because they don't have teams around them, like with Zach Wilson or I can't remember the other, Brock Purdy last week because everybody was hurt. So how is it that Malik Willis sucks, but Will Levis can't because Will Levis doesn't have weapons? Malik doesn't have weapons either. The only thing they've added in the last year is D-Hop. And
Malik
honestly,
Willis
he
threw
doesn't
for
look that
85
good.
yards in a preseason game as a second-year player.
But how many other second-year players have done any better?
Played an entire preseason game. Played it as a second-year player. Malik Willis played an entire preseason game and threw for 85 yards and turned the ball over in every preseason game that he played. Malik Willis was terrible last year, and we agree that that's not necessarily his fault because he needed nowhere to be. He had nowhere to be by that football field. But then year two, you're not a rookie anymore. And in year 2, you have to start, throwing for 100 yards in a real game, much less a preseason game when the other team does not have their starting players out there. Malik Willis jumped back in bounds last week with no timeouts inside the red zone. That is stuff. Again, you do it as a rookie, that's one thing. He's not a rookie. Jacob, your rebuttal.
So I understand what you're saying. Yes, 85 yards is not good in a full preseason game, but then we come back to the whole thing of where are the weapons? If his first-team receivers, tight ends, offensive line are doing anything for him, then how do you expect second-team or third-team to do anything?
I agree. They ruined Malik Willis. I completely – I just don't want to see the same thing happen to Will Levis. Thank you for your call. I just don't want to see the same thing happen to Will Levis. But, for instance, if you were to say, okay, can we see if somebody is good running the football with no offensive line, and they turn around and they hand the ball to, let's use Tajay Spears as the example. I don't know if Tajay Spears will ever be capable of running the football 25 times in a game like Derrick Henry. Like that he'll ever be able to be the lead back in the NFL. I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying I don't know. I know that Jared Stillman cannot be a lead back in the NFL. I know who can't, right? With Levis, the question is, can he be good? Not, is he better than Malik Willis? If the question is he better than Malik Willis, then you're in some deep trouble if Will Levis is not better than Malik Willis. Now, when he got hurt in training camp, I had Levis ahead of Willis. And just by a little bit, but I had Levis ahead. If he can't, now that he's got more experience under his belt, if he can't be better than Malik Willis, then you're in some real trouble. But I don't believe that the reason why Will Levis has not been the backup is because the Titans think right now, family on the line, have to win this football game. I think Willis gives me a better chance than Levis. I think it's because they don't want to put Levis in a bad situation, which I think is the right situation to be. I could be wrong about that. That's what I think. Mike's up next here on the program. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, I agree with you. There's no way that Levis is worse than Malik Willis. Malik Willis is by far the worst quarterback in the league right now. And I think the game is too fast for him. And, I believe there's no way Levis can't go out there and at least anticipate a pass, to get the guy the ball. Malik goes out there and he just stands there, and he will not let it go because he's waiting for someone to get completely wide open. That's not going to happen in the NFL, and therefore he cannot be an NFL quarterback. We have to go pick up somebody off the practice squad. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, they're probably not going to do that because they don't want to pay the money. Thank you, Mike. They probably don't want to pay the money to do that, which is probably why they didn't do it last year. I thought it was crazy when the Titans went into the season with Malik Willis as the backup. I thought it was crazy, and I begged them not to do it. I would have kept Logan Woodside, and Logan Woodside had a horrible camp and is not a very good player. But they needed a veteran backup. They needed a Taylor Heineke, a Josh Dobbs, a Case Keenum, random guy to be the backup quarterback and not put Malik out there if something were to have happened to Tannehill. The difference is that now, because Malik had the year under his belt and you think that he improved a little bit, or at least I think they thought that he improved enough to be able for them to be able just to get by if he has to finish the game, he may not have even done that. And the Titans admitted their first mistake last year when they signed Josh Dobbs and played him against the Cowboys. But I totally am fine with them saying, hey, we're not going to ruin Will Levis. One texter says, Levis was supposed to be a first-round pick, but he wasn't. And we have not heard Mike Vrabel say that Will Levis is the quarterback of the future. Let me just say this. I agree with you about Levis not being a first-round pick. Junie is all convinced that Will Levis has to be on the field. Well, everybody said he was a first-round pick caliber quarterback. That doesn't matter. He obviously wasn't a first-round pick caliber quarterback because nobody took him in the first round, including you, who took a guard over Will Levis. If you think a guy is the future of your franchise, I've seen the draft room video that the Chiefs posted, and some of this stuff is they try to show you as little as possible. But I saw the draft room video of when they traded up for the 10th pick for Patrick Mahomes, and you see everybody standing up, and you see them on the phone, and they're like, let's do it. Just do it. And then they do it, and they go, all right, we got the pick. And somebody in the room goes, look, there's no time. No, don't waste any time. Get the card in now. And they were like, all right, get the card in. All right, we took Patrick. And they all started hugging each other in the draft room. Now, they always clap and they always hug, so I'm not sure I make that big of a deal of it. But it was obvious how bad they wanted that guy. They could not get that guy. Jason Anderson told me the team that they were the most worried about, there were two teams. The Texans with Bill O'Brien, who ended up trading up for the next pick and drafting Deshaun Watson, and Sean Payton and the Saints. And that was Sean Payton's hand-picked successor to Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes. And Andy knew it, and so Andy had to get ahead. And so Andy did, and he drafted Mahomes. The Titans drafted a guard over their quarterback of the future. Now, as far as Vrabel not saying that Levis is the future quarterback, to me, Vrabel's never going to tell you what he thinks. The Titans could take a quarterback at 1-1 and Vrabel, well, got to earn it on the grass. So be careful there. Texter said, I hope you remember when we saw Will Levis play in the preseason. He was not good, and he might have been worse than Malik. That comes from Jared and Dixon. That was the first preseason game. Go look at C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson in their first preseason games. A rookie who's never played before is different than a guy in their second year. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Boy, we got a lot of phones on this. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. I do have a Tennessee-Bama thought that, quite frankly, I would love to know the answer. And I might this time tomorrow. We'll explain. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Art, sound, and sensory overload. Tool 2024 North American Tour. January 23rd, Bridgestone Arena. With special guest, Elder. Experience the sound and vision of Tool. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Tool in concert.
Actor Portrayal, based on a real patient experience.
I'm Mike. I'm a husband, proud father of two, work my butt off 6 days a week, some nights too. When my family or my company needs me to make it happen, I make it happen. But a few months ago, I started having trouble making it happen, in the bedroom. I tried some pills online, but they didn't work. Honestly, I thought about throwing in the towel on my sex life, but I'm not that old. I still want to enjoy intimacy with my wife. Like that poet said, I don't want to just go gently into that good night. So I went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic in Franklin, got some lab work done, was prescribed some meds, and wow, it made it happen. I can't say enough about them. Their providers took care of me, followed up, and made sure I had a treatment plan that actually works. It's awesome. If I were you, and you're like me, I'd give them a call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. If you're like most guys, they'll make it happen for you too.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Loki has returned in an all-new season on Disney+.
Reunited.
That's right.
The countdown is over.
I've been waiting.
Don't miss the return of Marvel's most watched Disney Plus show.
Loki. A little over the top, don't you think? I thought it was spot on.
His time is running out.
You better run!
Marvel Studios' Loki Season 2. New episodes now streaming only on Disney Plus.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
How do you feel about their fight this week with Alabama?
When you look at the stats, they're very similar in terms of their offensive stats, their defensive stats, the sacks, and things like that. They're very similar.
Yeah, but Tennessee didn't play Texas.
No, they didn't play Texas. That's right. And that's fair. And that's why I say it's just stats. You have to be careful to say, yeah, their defense is just as good. Their offense is just as good. But the thing about Alabama is that they've got weaknesses you can exploit. One of those weaknesses is they've had injuries in the safety position, especially in the secondary, but other places too. And so you've got guys in and out of the lineup, in and out of practice. And Tennessee last year was very successful throwing the ball against Alabama. All they have to be is moderately successful this week in order for them to do what they need to do on the ground. The Alabama offensive line is still a work in progress. Huge guys, they're getting better, but if you get them to have to block in space, they're still not very good. And Jalen Milroe is getting better from a standpoint of his intermediate passes. But if you take away those deep passes, then Alabama does not have an edge with Milroe over Milton.
There you go. That was Trevor talking about the Alabama-Tennessee game. I mean, the way Trevor sold that, it's like Alabama-Tennessee, who knows big showdown. Is it really a who knows? Bama's an 8-point favorite. Bama should win tomorrow. And I don't really see a path to victory for Tennessee, not with Joe Milton as their quarterback, not after what happened last year, in which Alabama was humiliated. Tennessee was elated to finally get the pressure of winning that rivalry game off their backs. And I think if Alabama's got any resolve at home against a quarterback I don't think is very good in Joe Milton, they should win tomorrow. But the one thing that I said we were going to learn this season was Tennessee's success last year, the dream season that it almost was, the really enjoyable season that it really, in fact, ended up being, was that a product of the quarterback that they had, Hendon Hooker, or was that Josh Heupel? And I thought the offense was kind of the new offense, the inventive offense that he's brought to the SEC, that he's come with, that he's dominating, but it might be the quarterback. Remember how much money Kevin Sumlin made at Texas A&M because Johnny Football was an incredible college football player? What did Sumlin do after that? Kenny Hill. I can't even think of some of the guys they had at quarterback at A&M after that. It was just 1 7-5 season after another for Kevin Sumlin once Johnny Football walked out the door. So it wasn't Sumlin, it was Manziel. And so with this, I wondered, was it Heupel or was it Hooker? Well, here's the thing. I was impressed with how Tennessee won last week against A&M, even though I was not impressed with A&M. And Caroline, Miss College Football, Miss Sirius XM SEC Radio, finger-wagging me about how A&M was not an average SEC team. Ian, you saw the game Saturday. Average SEC team?
Maybe average. Yeah, SEC's down, so average.
Average. But still, on one hand, I'm impressed the fact that Heupel knows what he has at quarterback, knows he can't play the same way he played last year, knows that they've got to win dirty and these ugly games and everything else. And on the other hand, I'm like, dude, what happened to the guru? Steve Spurrier never sat there and said, oh, well, we can't throw the ball. Let's run it a bunch. Let's try to win ugly on defense. Steve Spurrier never said that because Steve Spurrier just kept putting in the next guy. Oh, Danny Warfel's gone, put Shane Matthews in. Oh, he's gone, put Jesse Palmer in. Doesn't matter. Spurrier will just keep it rolling. But if Josh Heupel goes to Alabama tomorrow, plays a team that is better than him, plays a team that has higher expectations than Tennessee does, plays a team that has home field advantage. And I know somebody texted in earlier today and said that Bryant Denny is not a good home field advantage. I'm not sure where we got that from, but I have a feeling after what happened last year in this rivalry that Alabama's going to be rocking tomorrow. If he can do that with a lesser than team, with a lesser than quarterback, having probably to play Alabama's style of game in order to win, if he can find a way to beat Nick Saban with a lesser hand on the road in Tuscaloosa, then we will know that Josh Heupel is here to stay. Then we will know that Josh Heupel was not a one-hit wonder. Back, all of a sudden getting blown out by Syracuse. I have no idea if Nico's going to be any good. He's paid enough to be good, apparently, via NIL money, but I have no idea if Josh Heupel can turn him into the top quarterback prospect that then translates into the top quarterback player. I have no idea if he can be like Trevor Lawrence, a guy who in high school people said, this guy's going to be the truth, went to college, and was. Or if it's going to be another example of a quarterback that has all the hype that all the recruiting services love and then gets out there like Jeremy Johnson at Auburn. You people forget Jeremy Johnson, but I remember the late, great Rob Bramlett, the voice of the Auburn Tigers, came on our station the year before during the offseason that Jeremy Johnson was going to be the quarterback at Auburn and said that he was hearing from the coaching staff that Jeremy Johnson was better than Cam Newton. Yeah. Okay. So, I don't think Tennessee's going to win. In fact, I'm really, 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 really close to guaranteeing that Tennessee's not going to win because I just don't see the path to victory. And this is the SEC. Like, it's hard to win in the SEC on the road when you're playing in a real SEC hostile environment. I know Tennessee fans got mad about what Gary Danielson said last week about how Neyland Stadium isn't special compared to the other SEC stadiums. I actually think that it's a compliment because he's saying that Neyland Stadium is like everybody else, which is exactly how it should be. Everybody else, it's electric. But they took it personally because that's how Tennessee fans are. But going on the road to Alabama with Joe Milton at quarterback who's not good, the odds are really stacked against them. And if you can overcome that against Nick Saban, you're a pretty special coach. I can't think of a single coach that has had continued success against Nick Saban that wasn't special in one way or another or didn't have some sort of great advantage on Alabama. Dabo couldn't beat Saban twice in a row. I think Hugh Freeze, I heard Joe say this morning, Hugh Freeze is the last coach to do it twice in a row. And not only did he cheat to get his entire team, but Hugh Freeze is also a pretty good offensive coach. So tomorrow's a big one for Josh Heupel. 615-737-1025. Chad Withrow from Outkick will join us next. Boy, Titan fans got mad at him this weekend. We'll get his thoughts on the team. He said the season was over last week if they lost in London. I'm sure he hasn't changed his opinion on that. Levis, Willis, Tannehill will do that next. Fireball Hot Take Friday. It's Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Whether it's college football,
players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia,
or the NFL.
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
Maxer's in for Pete Weber with your Friday Preds Report. The Predators hit the road and won at Madison Square Garden last night for their first road win of the season, beating the Rangers 4-1. Cole Smith scored the Preds' first goal, and he scored his second later in the period for his first NHL multi-goal game. To the right side, Miller, pass blocked. He looked at Paco on the left wing. Smith will be free, and he is free. Back to full and even strength, and the puck comes right to him. Could be a 2-on-0. Smith scores! Cole Smith's got them both. Predators 2, Rangers nothing with 3:38 left in the first. Smith got the first 2. The power play got 2 more for Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg. And the Predators beat the Rangers 4-1. Back home to start a 3-game home week tomorrow night at 7 against the Sharks.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
At the Home Depot, Saturdays are about 2 things. The one-of-a-kind wood-fired flavor of a Traeger Ironwood XL grill. And football. That's right, Desmond Howard. Get fired up for the game in just a tap with Traeger's intuitive touchscreen. Then throw on your favorites and monitor the grill from anywhere with Wi-Fi technology. So you spend less time staring at the grill, which means more time for football. For football. Upgrade your Saturday with Traeger and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Exergen thermometers are proven to be more accurate than non-contact thermometers. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Clinical studies have proven that non-contact thermometers are inaccurate and can miss fevers. Accuracy matters. That's why the Exergen thermometer is trusted and used by medical professionals. Exergen thermometers are available at many fine retailers. Choose a trusted and accurate thermometer for personal use. Learn more about why accuracy matters. Available at Walmart and participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Vols are looking to make it 2 wins in a row versus Alabama when they travel to Tuscaloosa to take on the Crimson Tide tomorrow. ESPN's Trevor Maddich on how the Vols could stay in the game this time around.
Jalen Milroe is getting better from a standpoint of his intermediate passes. But if you take away those deep passes, then Alabama does not have an edge with Milroe over Milton. You know, it's kind of a wash in those 2 quarterbacks. Maybe even Milton might have an edge if you are able to back up the secondary and take away the deep passes for Alabama. So this is actually a very fair fight. Now it's up to Tennessee to execute. It's up to them to not freak out in the moment.
Vols versus Bama is set for a 2:30 kickoff. The Nashville Predators got a good 4-1 win over the New York Rangers last night. They return home for a game tomorrow night versus San Jose with puck drop at 7. The Tennessee Titans are off this week, but elsewhere around the NFL, Bears quarterback Justin Fields and Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo will both miss their games this week with injuries. The Major League Baseball playoffs continue today as well. Game 5 of the ALCS between Houston and Texas with the series tied 2-2 begins at 4 o'clock. And coming up tonight, Arizona is looking to even up the NLCS in Game 4 versus Philly. ESPN radio coverage gets underway at 6:30 on 94.9 The Fan. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And the score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board. Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Chad Withrow joins us, as he always does, at 5 o'clock from Outkick. So I was not surprised, but was enjoying on Sunday morning when the Titans were getting beaten by the Ravens after getting shellacked in the first half. And, Chad, you tweeted out that the Titans did not look like a well-coached football team, and Titan fans kind of got mad at you for that comment at halftime against the Ravens. The Titans ended up kind of making a little bit of a comeback. They find themselves in a tough spot now at 2-4. Let's start there, because everybody tells me that I am crazy to be looking in the direction of Mike Vrabel right now for some of these team struggles. Do you agree or disagree?
I think people see one thing and they automatically jump to a conclusion that when I say that, I mean that Mike Vrabel and the entire staff should be fired at halftime of the game or during the game. And what I'm actually stating is just an objective fact. When you have that many penalties and your team looks dumb on the field and you're putting a punt returner back with seconds left in the half that, oh, by the way, has a history of muffing punts with nothing to gain. I mean, there is nothing to gain in that situation. You don't put anyone back there, much less Kyle Phillips. And he muffs the punt, and you give them 3 points. That's a coaching error. There's no passion about this. This is not me being emotional about it. That's a huge coaching error. And that falls on the head coach. Falls on Craig Ackerman as a special teams coach as well, and all of his ineptitude over the years. But it ultimately falls on the head coach. I think Mike Vrabel's a really good coach. I've liked what he's done with the Titans over the years. But I think you're being blind if you watch that game and don't look to coaching and say, the coaching of this team has been bad. Just this team, not every team that Mike Vrabel's had. Mm-hmm. He's had years where the coaching has been such a big net gain that it's probably bought him more time because of that. The coaching is below. It's a negative this year. It's bringing the team down. So we have to acknowledge that and try to improve it before moving forward. But I think the Titans fans that got on to me or whatever or were upset by it, they just see that and they think, oh, Chad's saying that Mike Vrabel needs to get fired and they need to hire someone else. Then it becomes this whole debate about, well, who's better you're going to get? Who are you going to get that's any better? That type of thing. I'm not saying that at all. But, I mean, let's all embrace the fact and at least acknowledge that the 2023 Tennessee Titans are poorly coached. They play undisciplined. They do dumb things. This is a poorly coached football team, period. End of statement, end of sentence. That is a fact about this team. And Mike Vrabel is all about accountability and coaching them better and playing better. They got to coach better. They're the only ones who can fix that and turn that around. They got a chance to do it. There's still season left, but they've got to acknowledge that and get better.
Chad, how much do you think Vrabel, the executive, and Ran Carthon failed the team this offseason? Or do you think that they were put in such a bad spot by John Robinson?
The Andre Dillard thing hasn't worked out. I mean, I still go back to, you can't foresee Peter Skoronski having an emergency appendectomy or whatever, right, to start the season,
sure,
which was a bad break. You can't see Nicholas Petit-Frere getting the gambling suspension. But with that second-round pick, you can get someone who can help immediately, and they didn't. All right? Now, Will Levis, I don't think so, but may end up being the franchise quarterback. If so, great. That's a huge win for the Titans organization. I don't think they helped them at all. And I think that there's a law of diminishing returns on blaming John Robinson for everything. He is to blame for a lot, and that's why he got fired. I mean, he swung and missed on way too many first, second, third-round picks. And that's why he's no longer the Titans GM, and he traded away A.J. Brown, which was a big part of this. But I think you can't just continue to blame him for everything. So I'm going under the assumption that Mike Vrabel's in charge and not Ran Carthon, and he's the ultimate decision maker on everything. So I'm kind of separating Ran Carthon from this. It's on Mike Vrabel at this point. I think, Jared, I've listened to your show a lot. You've said that as well. The moment they made the decision to part ways with John Robinson, this was Mike Vrabel's operation. Mm-hmm. So if things get worse or don't get better at some point, it's ultimately going to fall on Mike Vrabel.
Chad Withers with us from Outkick. I think Vrabel's a good coach, but I also think Vrabel is overrated. Does that make any sense? Like, Charles Robinson was on with Robbie and Joe, and he was like, oh, you'd be crazy to think about trading Vrabel. There'd be a line out the door to hire Vrabel. They could get 2 first-round picks for Vrabel. I'm like, 2 first-round picks? If you can get 2 first-round picks for Mike Vrabel, I'd trade him in a heartbeat. What do you make of maybe that discussion? Because it's easy now for people to say, oh, well, Vrabel's a great coach. But if they keep losing, people aren't going to always feel that way. He's got value right now, Chad.
Yeah, if they wanted to trade Mike Vrabel to the Patriots for 2 first-round picks, sign me up immediately. And this is coming from someone who doesn't necessarily want to lose Mike Vrabel.
Mm-hmm.
But if that was a decision, do it. I'm with you on that one. Here's what I think Vrabel has going for him. They had that year where they had so many injuries, and they still got the number 1 seed in the AFC. Great job by Mike Vrabel. The AFC Championship game year. Great job by Mike Vrabel. Really good things early on from him. And he's still cashing those checks. Those checks are still depositing in the bank, right? All that goodwill from those 2 seasons that we saw, people are still going to remember that. I said it here before, and I'll say it again. We need to acknowledge that this team is poorly coached and figure out why that is. We have to figure out his track record of hiring offensive coordinators, which has not been good. Got to get better at that. And I don't know, Tim Kelly may end up being fine. I'm not burying that guy yet or anything, but Todd Downing was a mistake, and time will tell on Tim Kelly. But he cashes the checks with that. And it's the lineage. It's the pedigree. He's a good player that played for Bill Belichick in New England. So I think from a national media standpoint, they see that and think, oh, this guy's a genius. He played for Belichick. Belichick's had all this success. He was a great player. He was good to deal with when he was a player in the media. So, he's the greatest coach in the league, or one of the greatest coaches in the league. And I think he's a really good NFL coach. Don't get me wrong. But there is value there if you were able to trade him. I agree with you on that.
Chad Withrow's with us. Tannehill's probably not going to play on Sunday against the Falcons. Do they have to play Will Levis, or can they afford to play Will Levis given the fact that there's really nothing around him? And what does that mean if they go back with Malik Willis?
They have to play Will Levis. They have to. And I understand the argument of he doesn't have a great offensive line. Jared, I can't think of many situations with a rookie quarterback who came in the league that had the perfect offensive line or that had great offensive line play. Most rookies that play in the NFL aren't behind the best offensive line in the league. There's a reason that team was drafting high. Usually it's not a second-round pick that's having to start right away. It's usually a high first-round pick. Peyton Manning got beat up in year 1. We can go down the list. Andrew Luck got beat up his entire career.
But they ruined Andrew Luck because of that.
Well, Andrew Luck ruined. Could Andrew Luck have kept playing? Probably. He was interested in other things too. Andrew Luck had a great career while he played too. If I told you right now Will Levis would have Andrew Luck's career, even if he retired early, wouldn't we sign up for that?
6
years. If
years.
he became that quarterback, I'd sign up. I don't think he's going to be a good starting quarterback in the league, so I'd sign up for it right now. I'll answer the question and say yes. I would take Andrew Luck's career for him. No, they got to play him. They got to find out what they have. If he's really that good that they feel like they have to sit on him because the offensive line is bad and they don't want to mess him up, then why didn't he go in the first round? Why didn't someone else think that? Why did the Titans trade back into the first round or do something to get him?
Why did the Titans take a guard over drafting him in the first round at 11?
Yeah, absolutely. If this was a guy worth protecting, to not see what you have with him and play him, I think that you're drafting him with that first-round pick a year ago. I don't see that to be the case. Will Levis has a lot of proving to do in the league, and that was shown by how he fell in the draft. Play him. What's it telling Malik Willis if it's, hey, we're going to play you because our offensive line is terrible and we want to save the kid? I don't know that's the best message for him either. But we know what Malik Willis is at this point. He hasn't improved enough from last year. I want to see Levis. I think that's the way for the Titans to go. Let's figure out what they have and what they really need now moving forward, because if you don't have that quarterback in place, that changes every strategy for your offseason and how you're going to manipulate the cap, how you're going to draft, how you're going to do everything. So they need to start figuring out what they're going to do.
Where I would argue that, though, Chad, and I hear what you're saying, but where I would argue that is that, Vince Young was Rookie of the Year as a rookie. I remember that. You remember that. He was the truth as a rookie. Did you really know what you had in Vince Young after his rookie year? Mac Jones took the Patriots to the playoffs, and then Belichick brought in, Bozo and the quarterback sneak coach to run the offense last year, and now Mac Jones is an unmitigated disaster. I just don't think that – I personally don't believe that with this line, these receivers, there's any way for us to, quote-unquote, know what they have in Will Levis.
Well, Vince Young was the 3rd overall pick. So he was going to play in year one regardless. So we saw what we saw from Vince Young in year one, and it was good, and he didn't get any better. And I'm not saying that if Will Levis goes out and plays pretty well, I'm not saying he's going to have a Hall of Fame career or anything, but you need to see the guy play NFL games. We barely saw him in the preseason. And I don't know how we're going to sit around and wait for the Titans to be in perfect. Their offensive line sucks right now. They've got one first-round pick that's playing. Outside of that, they're not any good on the offensive line. DeAndre Hopkins has played pretty well, can't find the end zone. Traylon Burks can't see the field, can't find his way on the field as a first-round pick. I just don't know. You can't wait forever. Do we expect the Titans after one offseason to be in a great spot to play Will Levis? Do we have to wait until 2024 because we've got this magic wand and the Titans' offensive line is going to be really good, protection's going to be awesome, and then he's going to have great receiving options a year from now? I don't know that. In fact, if you ask me to guess right now, I'd say that's not going to be the case. I'm going to say their offensive line is not going to be great next year either, and their receiver options are probably not going to be great. Kid's got to play. We got to see what he's got. Everyone needs to see what he has. Didn't see enough in the preseason. He needs to get out there and prove it. So I'm all for him playing. I hope we see him this year. That's not to say if he goes out and plays poorly because he gets no protection, the Titans should be done with him. Or if he plays pretty well, they should decide that's who their guy is. But we need some sort of body of work to make decisions on.
I just don't see any way that his body of work is not terrible. Like, I expect him to be terrible as a rookie that has never played in the NFL, that doesn't know what NFL defenses are trying to do, with no offensive line and no receivers outside of DeAndre, no tight ends.
Wasn't the argument, though, that he played in an NFL offense?
But that doesn't mean that he was playing against NFL defenses.
He's so ready-made. Malik Willis going to take time to adjust. Anthony Richardson take time to adjust. This guy played for Liam Cohen and played an NFL offense, so he knows the NFL game. That was the big sales point for him.
But he wasn't playing against NFL defenses.
Well, that's great. Other rookie quarterbacks have to go against NFL defenses too.
But other rookie quarterbacks,
appropriate?
Or other rookie quarterbacks. Think of the other rookie quarterbacks. Bryce Young's team's terrible, and I haven't even watched them, so I can't tell you if Bryce Young is the reason that they're terrible or not, but Bryce Young's team's terrible. Anthony Richardson's already hurt, out for the season, because he should have been sitting so that he can learn, like Trevor Lawrence told him after the first game, you cannot play like this in the NFL. And then C.J. Stroud's team is good, and C.J. Stroud's got a $30 million left tackle, a $20 million left guard, a $12 million right guard, and a $3 million right tackle that the Titans were too cheap to sign. C.J. Stroud's team is good?
Did you have that coming into the season? You had the Texans winning the division? You had the Texans being good?
No.
You just said his team is good.
They are solid.
They've done stuff that was unpredictable. You didn't like C.J. Stroud in the draft. And he's looked better than any other quarterback, right?
But that's because he's got the infrastructure to succeed, and the other guys don't.
Infrastructure. Now the Texans have the
That's just my whole point the whole time, Chad.
Things happen that are surprises all the time in the NFL. Let Will Levis surprise me. Put him out there and see what happens. Maybe he gives the team a spark. Let me break it down to the psychology of what you're getting at here. You love Will Levis. You love the draft pick. You are very afraid that he's going to get out there and be terrible and that the fan base is going to give up on him because of that, and that everyone's going to say you're wrong and they're right about Will Levis. Let us see. I'm raising my hand and saying I hate the pick. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback, but I am withholding judgment until I see the guy play in the NFL. And I don't believe in a 1.5, 2 year some sort of red shirt system for an NFL quarterback. The kid played college football for a while. He's not some 19-year-old. He played in an NFL offense. Put him out there. At least mix him in with Malik Willis if Tannehill can't go. Let's see what they've got at quarterback. I'm all for giving him a shot.
Well, here's where I disagree. First of all, my stamp of was Jared right or wrong is on Anthony Richardson. That was the one that I shoved all the chips in the middle for. Levis I liked. I didn't hate him, but I liked it, but not like, I loved Richardson. But my thing on the Levis front is that this team has no infrastructure for him. They don't have a tight end. This team does not have a tight – Chikakonkwo sucks. This team does not have a tight end. The Houston Texans went out and got a starting tight end from the Dallas Cowboys who is actually good in Dalton Schultz. And we can look at the Texans' offseason moves, and you can see that, no, they were really building around the quarterback that they didn't even have at that point. The Titans didn't do any of that. The Titans decided to pay a 270-pound center $4.3 million. They decided to give Andre Dillard $7.5 million, and he sucks. I mean, they didn't do any of that to help out a future young quarterback. So when you put him in there, he's going to fail. And I do believe in sitting quarterbacks because Mahomes sat, Rodgers sat, Brady sat, all these great quarterbacks sat. Manning didn't sit, Burrow didn't sit. He's not Manning, he's not Burrow.
Well, he's not Manning, he's not Burrow, and the Titans have just gone through 2 picks in 2 years, 3rd round and 2nd round on a quarterback. We know what we have in one in Malik Willis, not the guy. Need to find out what you have in the other, in Will Levis. And if you want to wait a year for that and just play Malik. So if you play Malik Willis, let's say that Tannehill's ankle injury is as bad as last year. He's not going to go. You play Malik Willis, you basically lose out at that point the rest of the way. You're going to get a very high draft pick. You get that high draft pick to draft a left tackle or an offensive lineman to protect Will Levis, to give him the infrastructure. The guy that you didn't see fit to play at all in year 1 to see with this hypothetical, he's our franchise quarterback. You feel confident in that? If you're the Titans, if you're as a Titans fan, you feel confident in that scenario playing out, or would you not like to see a little bit of what he can do? And I think people can evaluate for themselves. Certainly the Titans can evaluate and say, oh, that's on the offensive line. That's on the lack of tight end. That's on the lack of receiver. But these plays were there for him. He either made them or didn't make them. And here's how we got through that season. Or is it just a fear of injury that's preventing you from playing him?
That's a part of it, too. I mean, Tannehill's hurt, and it's not Tannehill's fault that Tannehill's hurt. If it was going to be week 6, week 8, week 12, at some point with this line, he was going to get hurt. And I don't think that will change for the other 2 quarterbacks either. But I just don't believe – I believe Brock Purdy – for instance, and I think Brock Purdy's kind of got some of the really good intangibles. But if Sam Darnold was the quarterback of that team, I still think they'd be really good. I think Purdy has the best infrastructure any quarterback could ever ask for. The best receivers, the second best tight end, the best left tackle, the best all-around running back, a great defense, and the best offensive coach. When Mahomes took over, he had the fastest wide receiver in the NFL, the best tight end, and one of the best offensive coaches. Will Levis has DeAndre. That's it. And I do think that matters for young quarterbacks.
Then let's go ahead and push pause to year 3 or 4 and allow the Titans the amount of draft classes they're going to need and off seasons they're going to need to compile that infrastructure you're talking about.
Well, did you think Tua sucked 2 years ago?
Pick. What?
Did you think Tua sucked 2 years ago?
Did I think Tua sucked 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I thought he was worse. I think Mike McDaniels helps.
Well, I think Tyreek Hill is the reason why Tua – and McDaniel, of course.
Okay, but Tua played as a rookie, right?
Yeah, and they benched him.
And he rebounded.
And then they wanted to get rid of him for Tom Brady, and the owner got suspended over it.
There's a rookie quarterback who struggled in year 1, who then they eventually got guys around him and played him, and he's great now. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The same can be true for Will Levis. I don't believe in wrapping quarterbacks in bubble wrap and protecting their fragile egos and psyches. If you were that easily damaged, you're not the guy. It's proven itself time and time again in the league. If Will Levis is really the guy, and we feel great about him psychologically, and we're not weirded out by anything in the draft process or anything at Kentucky, he can handle not getting great protection in year 1, struggling, and he will bounce back from it as the Titans compile the infrastructure. If we go with your plan, it's going to be probably 2 seasons away, not next year. They're not going to fix all those holes in one offseason. Maybe in 2 years they can do it. So then we're talking about, year 3 that you're moving on to Will Levis.
Once he's been in the system for a year, he knows how, life in the NFL, and then you can put him out there and he can probably handle it better than a guy who's never seen an NFL defense before.
Do you think Bryce Young's going to be terrible his whole career?
I haven't watched Bryce Young in Carolina. I was not a huge fan of Bryce Young coming out because of the size, but no, I don't think Bryce Young will be terrible his entire career.
Yeah. Look, guys can take lumps. Will Levis is a big boy.
But Corey Curtis told me earlier today, He covered the Texans when they had David Carr. And he was like, David Carr had legit talent, and they ruined him by getting him sacked 76 times as a rookie.
Peyton Manning got sacked a lot as a rookie, too. I mean, look, we can go point, counterpoint.
But Will Levis is not Peyton Manning, and he's never going to be Peyton Manning.
Why not?
He wasn't taken 1-1. He wasn't even taken in the first round.
Then why are you messing around with him? If you're drafting a guy to be a franchise quarterback, then here's what the Titans should do. If you're now admitting no chance this guy's ever going to be Peyton Manning or anyone great in the NFL, then cut your losses, lose every game, and get the number 1 or number 2 pick and draft a guy you think is going to be that. Because if you don't have that guy, you're in constant search of that guy. So the Titans are once again Malik Willis to Will Levis. They're in constant search of that guy again, if that's the case. I don't know that. I think he's not going to be that guy. I agree with you on that, but let's see. That's all I'm asking. I'd love to see it, one way or the other.
You know what one executive in the league that I would say knows a lot about the evaluation of Will Levis, like that evaluated Will Levis very closely, what they told me a couple weeks ago?
Was it Rand Carthon?
No, it was not Rand Carthon.
Good.
They told me, I said, do you think Will Levis has the potential to be, a QB1? And they said to me, I think Will Levis is absolutely going to be one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the league. Is he going to be a star quarterback? No. But I think he's got the chance to be one of the 32 best in the NFL. And immediately my heart just sunk when I heard that. Because it was basically like, yeah, the reason the Titans took a guard over Will Levis was because they think Will Levis has the potential to be another Tannehill or a Jared Goff or that kind of quarterback, and not that they think he's got the potential to be, a Dan Marino who gets drafted at the end of the first round and becomes a Hall of Famer. And I did not like that at all.
Well, I don't like hearing that either. But look, maybe the Titans can turn themselves into the 49ers, with Rand Carthon here now. And you don't need the greatest quarterback to be a great NFL team. I just think the chances of that happening are slim. I think the chances are better of finding a true franchise guy that's a young quarterback and then deciding, okay, we got to build around him. Similar to what Jacksonville's trying to do now with Trevor Lawrence. Like, find the guy and then say, we've got to build around this guy. I just want to see what Levis has. That's all I want.
Chad Withrow's with us from Outkick. We've got to get to we ran super, super late. So we're going to run through the hot seat. We're going to do that next. Since it's my favorite segment of the week, we'll do that. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.2 The Game.
Coming on in for This is Pete Weber. Saturday night, the Predators open a 3-game homestand against the San Jose Sharks. Pre-game at 6, puck drop at 7.
Your home for Smashville is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
If you ever been making love to your woman and she put her hand on your butt pushing for more, but that's all you got?
Chris Tucker from Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3, and also Smokey in the 1995 hit Friday.
Get your hand off my butt, you're messing up my rhythm.
Chris Tucker brings the Legend Tour to Ryman Auditorium Thursday, October 26th.
Give it to me, I'm giving it to you.
Award-winning actor, producer, and one of the funniest guys in comedy, Chris Tucker.
Be satisfied with what you're getting. Now what the hell?
Get tickets now at Ryman.com.
Get Black Friday deals earlier than ever at Electronic Express. Get the gifts you want and save up to 40% throughout the entire store. Beat the crowds and save on hundreds of 4K TVs, appliances, computers, and more. Plus, get up to 36 months free financing on items like a Samsung 65-inch 4K TV, now only $549, or a stainless steel refrigerator, only $499. Black Friday deals are here at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Prince's Hot Chicken is Nashville's original hot chicken restaurant, serving up the gold standard of hot chicken for almost 100 years. Whether you get their tenders, wings, whole chicken, their Andre chicken sandwich, or one of their fabulous sides, you will not be disappointed with this Nashville staple. Ranging from plain to mild to hot, Prince's has something for everyone. There's even the XXX hot flavor for the adventurous types. You've been warned. Prince's Hot Chicken has multiple locations in Nashville, with their newest location opening at the Tanger Outlets in Antioch, October 27th. Prince's, Nashville's original hot chicken.
When it comes to shopping for home and auto insurance, the companies that usually come to mind can only offer one coverage option. So, if you want to compare prices, you're forced to visit multiple websites just to get one quote at a time. But but not with Xander Insurance. Xander is a broker that works for you, shopping dozens of top-rated companies to find you the best rates this year and every year so your price stays competitive, keeping your life simple and hassle-free. Compare rates all in one place at Xander.com, or for a more personal touch, call 800-356-1780.
Green Trees Company Dispensary and 102.5 The Game want to send you to see Kiss at Bridgestone Arena October 23rd. Keep listening to Nashville's Best Sports Talk for your chance to win tickets to see Kiss on their End of the Road tour, courtesy of Green Trees Company Dispensary.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chad Withrow's with us from Outkick. We went kind of long on the Will Levis arguing, which also happened with Corey Curtis earlier today. It's 1,000 people on one side, me on the other side, and I know I'm right about this. But my favorite segment of the week has turned into this hot seat segment where we run through a bunch of different topics with Chad. So, Chad, unless you have a thought, you want to get right to them.
So does Corey agree with me? Did he argue with you also on this?
Yes. Gotta see what you have. Gotta see what you have.
I figured Corey would have been on your side on that, so that surprises me. Okay, good to know. Good to know that it's just you versus all of us.
It is me versus the entire city. Number one, can Tennessee win on Saturday at Alabama with Joe Milton as the quarterback?
No, they cannot. Joe Milton, Tennessee can win with their defense the way they're playing this year. They can win against good teams if Joe Milton just does the standard basic things well and doesn't lose the game for them. The problem is Joe Milton is doing things that's losing Tennessee games or could lose them the game. They probably should have lost A&M. I mean, you throw an interception to a safety you don't see in the end zone with a chance to put the game away. You get a free play, and you got a first down to pick up, and you don't extend the football in the run and just lazily go out of bounds, and then that costs you a chance to pick up a first down. These are critical errors that will get Tennessee whipped on the road against good SEC teams. Joe Milton's good enough to win a defensive battle in a game like that at Neyland Stadium. Joe Milton has not played well enough to go to Alabama and win a game. I think it might be close for a while, pretty low scoring. I think Alabama wins 27-10 in this game with a late touchdown. I'm not a believer in Joe Milton. And honestly, look, if he continues to turn the ball over starting tomorrow, you got to get Nico Iamaleava ready. I wouldn't mind seeing him start against UConn if this continues with the turnovers with Joe Milton. If he starts playing better, I'm all for him being the starter, but he's got to be better than he was on Saturday against A&M. Tennessee, very fortunate. They need to be thanking their defense and special teams for winning that game against A&M because they're lucky to come away with a win in that one.
Got to know what you have in Nico. Has Nick Saban gotten too nice?
Nick Saban was too nice early this year, but he has been melting faces since then. That's what I like to call what Nick Saban does when he just goes ballistic into the headset and starts cursing out one of his assistant coaches. The tide turned, pun intended, at some point this year where he decided to get some energy going again and get angry, and I think that has helped Alabama. The big surprise with Alabama, honestly, is their offensive line that hasn't been any good at all this year and allowed a ton of pressure, a ton of sacks. That's been the biggest disappointment so far for Bama. But I think Nick Saban has returned to the Saban of 2 years ago with his mentality and with his temperament.
Should Jim Harbaugh be fired at Michigan for so brazenly breaking the rules?
If Jim Harbaugh, which we all believe, right? There's no way he had no knowledge of this. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
If it's true.
Who's paying for those plane tickets and hotel rooms and tickets to the game and everything else?
Well, who's hiring a kid from the United States Naval Academy that in the LinkedIn bio, which I read today, says that he is going to basically use Marine Corps tactics to help the Michigan football program, and he's going to be sort of the director of intelligence. I think is how he said, I'm going to run intelligence for Michigan. I've never heard the term intelligence used for a football team the way it was with that. If that's the case, yeah, I think he should probably, if he's lying about it and the university knew nothing about it and they weren't doing anything if this catches them truly off guard, then yeah, he should be fired. But here's what's going to happen. This investigation is going to take way too long. Michigan's going to continue to be really good. And Jim Harbaugh is going to get with his agent. He's going to leave for the NFL after this year. Hey, he may be the next Titans coach. Who knows? If things continue to go south, maybe Jim Harbaugh will be coaching the Titans next year.
Would you hire Jim Harbaugh if you were an NFL team?
Yes, absolutely. With what he did in San Francisco, I think it's time for him to go back to the NFL. That's an easy one for me. I would definitely hire Jim Harbaugh.
My problem is, have you seen the stupidity in this league? Like Brian Daboll coaching before the half the other night. I don't even understand how these guys can make so much money and be so stupid. And it is unbelievable to me. All right, next one. Is Jacksonville good?
I think they are. Here's what's crazy about Jacksonville, though. They're exactly where most everyone predicted them to be in the preseason, right? Sitting here with 2 losses, atop the AFC South. They're going on a run right now. Yet I continue to watch them and not be overly impressed. I think they're good, not great. I would never put them down as a team that could go on a run and, get to an AFC championship game or get to a Super Bowl. But I do think they're the best team in the AFC South right now. Houston obviously being the big wild card in that. So while they're exactly where most predicted, I still find myself to be thoroughly unimpressed with them as some true contender in the AFC. I think they're a team good enough to win this division, and they probably will, but I don't think they're a great team.
Last one. Mike Vrabel returns to Foxborough for his induction this weekend into the Patriots Hall of Fame. 2 first-round picks for Mike Vrabel to replace Bill Belichick. Who says no, the Titans or the Patriots?
The Patriots. The Patriots for this reason. I think that they will believe they have other guys that have been there before that could be a head coach. I'll give you an example. Gerard Mayo. I think there's going to be someone like that Robert Kraft has a relationship with, that he will say, I'm not going to put the next coach in that position to be down 2 first-round picks. There are other people that I've been around, and I know coaching well enough, and I know the league well enough, that we can hire another Patriot and be just fine and not give up that steep of a price with 2 first-round picks. So the Patriots would say no. The Titans, if that were the offer, should absolutely say yes.
I don't even think it's close. I don't think the Titans would say yes, though. I think the Titans think they have the best coach in the NFL.
Talk to me in a month. If this continues and they continue to look bad and they're getting whipped in games and Kyle Phillips is muffing punts with 8 seconds left in the half, then I think Amy Adams Strunk opinion of Mike Vrabel and what she'd do in that trade would change pretty quickly.
Especially how quickly it changed how they felt about John Robinson. Chad Withrow from Outkick always joining us on a Friday. Chad, great stuff. That hot seat might actually be my favorite segment of the week. Appreciate you as always.
I love Jared versus Joe on Wednesdays, but personally, and I'm biased here, that hot seat segment is also now my favorite segment of the week too. Love it every
week. It's so
week.
Much fun.
Jared, I appreciate it. Good debate today. We'll let your callers decide who's right.
They've already decided. They're on your side. They're on Corey's side. They're on Joe's side. They're on everybody's side except for mine. But I know that I am right about that. This is the one instance where there's 1,000 people on one side and there's me on the other side. And I know that I am right. Not I think I'm right. I know that I am right.
I look forward to listening to you read the text line of everyone agreeing with me in the next segment. That's what I look forward to. That's going to be my new favorite segment of the week, when I listen to everyone agreeing with me on the text line. Thank you, Jared.
Chad Withrow, as always. I do have a take about Jacksonville's game last night that we haven't gotten to yet. We'll do that next. And then to Chad's point, we are to your phones. Stillman and Company on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. I love Fireball whiskey. Goes down so smooth and it tastes so great. There's no better way to celebrate a weekend than by kicking it off with Fireball whiskey. That's right. I love Fireball whiskey. Again, ignite the night. Please do it responsibly and be 21 years or older to enjoy. That's Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players. I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com.
Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to save cash fast. Get up to half off or more on dining and entertainment at thegamenashville.com/deals. Check back often for new featured deals and save money now at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Exergen thermometers are proven to be more accurate than non-contact thermometers. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Clinical studies have proven that non-contact thermometers are inaccurate and can miss fevers. Accuracy matters. That's why the Exergen thermometer is trusted and used by medical professionals. Exergen thermometers are available at many fine retailers. Choose a trusted and accurate thermometer for personal use. Learn more about why accuracy matters. Available at Walgreens and participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Are you always on the go? We've got you covered. Download the Game Nashville app from your app store and listen to us wherever you are.
Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexroad.
It's Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mays.
Stillman Company.
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
Good station. I listen to it all the time.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
3rd and goal. Carr to the end zone, off the fingertips of Moreau. Could not hold it in, setting up a 4th and goal. So close.
Yeah, I mean, perfectly timed. The execution is there. The one hitch, ball out. Miscommunication by the Jags. He had 2 defenders that watched both the defenders, Jenkins and Brown, 30 and 2, just sit up front. Big hole in the back. Carr read it perfectly. The ball's just dropped.
The Saints are 4 for 5 on 3rd down tonight. On fourth and goal on 4th down. Again to the end zone. All kinds of contact there. Pass is ruled incomplete. Everybody wants in the stadium a flag. You got Buster Brown there with Chris Olave. All legal.
I was watching the game last night, and I said to somebody, when New Orleans was driving, I said, this is how this is going to end. New Orleans is going to get down to the 6-yard line, and they're going to throw it away on 4th down. Now, I did not think when I was accounting for that New Orleans was going to drop a touchdown pass like Foster Moreau did. And I could not believe it. But that was a big win last night for Jacksonville. And here's the thing about the NFL. Unless you're Kansas City and you're playing Chicago, every game in the NFL is close. Hell, the Titans were horrendous last week, and they lost by 8 points. You know, the first half, they were terrible. The second half, they had a backup quarterback in, and they still only lost by 8. That's how this league works. So, again, unless you're Kansas City, Buffalo, and you're playing Carolina, every game's going to be close. But the good teams are the teams that can go on the road, not play their best, and still win. Jacksonville went on the road. They did not play their best yesterday against the Saints. Trevor Lawrence was injured on a short week, and they still found a way to win the game. They made just enough plays to win, and that's the difference. Last week, New Orleans won by 1 possession against the Saints. Dalton Schultz turns around on an underthrown ball by C.J. Stroud behind him, makes a great touchdown catch. That one play, those are the plays you're not making right now. Those are the plays that good teams make. Now, Houston won their game at home. Jacksonville won theirs on the road. That's a big difference. And that Saints game that the Titans played earlier in the year, I look back at that and I'm like, oh, God, that one hurts because the Saints are not very good. The Saints have some good players. Like Rashid Shaheed is a dude. Michael Thomas had a Michael Thomas-like touchdown catch. They can rush the passer, but they're not a good team. And I look back to the Titans and the fact that the Titans made just every opportunity in that game that they had, they screwed up. Every single one of them. And yet they couldn't win. And that's why. And so when I look at Jacksonville, they're 2.5 games up in the division. Now the Titans still have the 2 games against Jacksonville. So they'd have to win those probably. The Titans probably have to go 5-1 in the division in order to win this division. They're probably going to have to win the next 2 as well against Atlanta and Pittsburgh without Ryan Tannehill, which is hard for me to envision. But when I look at Jacksonville, I know we can argue, well, they got lucky at this, and they couldn't throw the ball in the second half that, and they got a good punt return there, and then Foster Moreau dropped the ball here. And so if we really wanted to make the argument, if we thought it would make us feel better to make the argument that Jacksonville is not good because the Saints aren't good and they barely beat them, then we could. But I don't believe that. I looked at Jacksonville. I thought they were overrated. I still don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but I think they're a team that understands who they are. I think they've got a quarterback who is not as good as people think he is and is probably never going to be that good, but he is going to be efficient. He played with an injury yesterday, and he gave Jacksonville a real chance to win. Short week, on the road, tough environment, a Saints team that is playing for first place, coming off of a disappointing loss, and they still found a way to win the game. The 1999 year, the year the Titans went to the Super Bowl, Floyd told me they actually went to New Orleans, and they played terrible in the first half. Billy Joe Tolliver just ripped them apart in the first half. And the Titans stormed back with Neil O'Donnell at quarterback in the second half, and they got a pick 6 to win the game. And Floyd told me that's when they knew that they had a good team that year, because they went on the road, they didn't play very well, and they still won the game. And that's what Jacksonville did yesterday. I have not bought into the Jacksonville hype. I have not given Jacksonville really any credit until now. And I'm not buying into the hype. I don't think they can beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. But I do think they probably are the best team in the division. And I have a lot of respect for the Texans because I think the Texans are playing some defense. And the Texans, look, they got the 5th highest payroll in the NFL. They put their money where their mouth was this year to protect their quarterback. And that's not good news for the Titans. Yesterday's game was bad news for the Titans. By the way, the text line's pretty much everybody just agreeing with Chad. I'm telling you, 9,000 people on one side, me on the other, and I know I'm right. 615-737-1025. Six-pack picks coming up next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's time to celebrate this fall and unleash the beast. Monster Brewing proudly presents to you Beast Unleashed. 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, all the adult beverage fun. The Beast is unleashed with great taste, bold familiar flavors, and 6% alcohol. Go wild with Mean Green, White Haze, Peach Perfect, and Scary Berries. Don't fear the Beast. Enjoy Beast Unleashed at your next tailgate or football party. Drink responsibly. Must be 21 and over.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolex. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
Do reward. Just desserts. Special day. Payoff. Just because. Whatever your reasons, it's time to visit the spa.
Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Now offering outdoor yoga 9 a.m. every Saturday through September 2nd on the spa terrace. Book any treatment and get complimentary valet parking and access to the rooftop pool with incredible views of the Music City skyline. Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Inner Zen, outer beauty.
Hey y'all, this is Ronte, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is the pimento cheese. I was like, go cheese, go pimento, go honey, go get it.
Hi, this is Chantrice, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is the mild spiciness of the pickled jalapenos. No, it's the crispy chicken. Actually, I can't decide. It's the entire sandwich.
Order the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
Nashville's radio version of The Odd Couple.
You would trade for the third pick? Yeah, I don't know that I would do that.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode.
I'm here for the discussion. I'm not. It's a good one.
It's absurd. Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 9.
Win the games. When they get in the playoff, they'll have a chance to.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, no Titans game this week, so no official six-pack pick there. Ian, how did we do last week on our picks?
Last week, not our best.
No.
2-3-1 last week. Let's see, what do we got? We pushed with Oregon-Washington. Washington was -3. We missed USC, we missed Indy, we missed the Titans, but you got the Vols and you got the Cowboys.
Boy, I tell you, I'm so disappointed.
So the season record is
game.
21-20-2 for the season.
That is a wildly inconsistent season so far. So we're basically like the Cleveland Browns right now, as far as that is concerned. I'm sure, by the way, the Browns will show up here in six-pack picks.
Oh, I don't know about that.
The Browns and Colts didn't make it?
They did not, no.
Okay, that means we must have a good week. But I will say this, though. Normally, like the NFL had a pretty bad week last week of big games. And so on Thursday Night Football, when they show like the big games that week with the quarterbacks that are standing there, except for when the Titans play, they show Derrick Henry standing there. There were some pretty good games on the docket, which, by the way, I have a theory for you. You know how, like, every time that they preview a game, they show the quarterback, and it's like, be sure to tune in on Sunday for the Titans and the Jags.
Yeah.
And it's always Lawrence, and then if it's the Titans, it's Henry. It's never Tannehill.
Right.
I have a theory. If the Titans trade Derrick Henry.
Who becomes the new player?
Uh-huh.
Okay, who you going with?
Vrabel.
No player. Going right to the coach.
Vrabel.
Not even Simmons.
Nope. It's like the Monday Night Football game against the Dolphins. It's the Titans and the Dolphins. Tua
versus Vrabel.
Vrabel. That's what I think it's going to be. All right, let's get right to it.
Okay, we will start 11 a.m. on Fox. Penn State at Ohio State. Over-under on this game, pretty low, 46. Ohio State, -5.
I really don't like Ohio State. I'm going to take Ohio State. I really don't like Ohio State. But am I the only person that feels like Penn State every year gets to this point of the season when they start playing the big boys and they're always in like the top 10 and then they always lose to the big boys, and so then Penn State kind of goes away? Am I the only one who thinks that?
Probably not.
This is a big boy matchup for Penn State. Penn State over the last 6 or 7 years, since James Franklin's really had Penn State rolling, Penn State has always been third behind Ohio State, behind Michigan. I know they had the 1 year where they lost the 2 games, but they beat Ohio State. But generally speaking, they've always been third. They stay third. Ohio State wins. If the game were in Happy Valley, maybe we'd have a different discussion. It's not. I'll take Ohio State.
Okay, continuing on Fox, 7 p.m., Utah at USC. USC, -7.
Whew. I did not like USC last week. Utah's got a nice defense. I did not like USC at Colorado, but both those were road games. I think USC knows they have to get back on the right track. The last thing that Utah wanted was that performance that USC had at Notre Dame. I'll take USC.
Okay, our 2:30 CBS game this week, the Vols at Bama. 2:30 CBS, over-under 47.5. A little higher than I thought, I guess. We have on our official site, Bama -9.
9?
That's what we got.
So I'm going to take Alabama. Now, I do not like this Alabama team. I think Saban's gotten too nice. I don't like their quarterback. I don't think their offensive line bullies people like we're used to, and I don't think they have great players like we're used to from Alabama. But Tennessee is not going to go on the road after last year's Alabama game and with Joe Milton at quarterback beat Alabama. So Alabama's going to win. In fact, I guarantee that Alabama will beat Tennessee tomorrow. Now, the guarantee is not the spread. I am taking Bama -9. The guarantee is not the spread. The guarantee for the second year in a row, I am taking Alabama. I guarantee Alabama will beat Tennessee. I am not deterred by what happened last year. Give me Alabama -9. Give me Alabama guaranteed to beat Tennessee.
Moving over to the NFL, our first game. Interesting little game we have here. The Lions at the Ravens.
That's my coach.
Noon, Fox. Over-under, pretty low, 43. But Baltimore minus a field goal.
I'll take Detroit. Baltimore had to travel back from London. I think Baltimore's got some serious problems on their team. I think Detroit is legit offensively. Ben Johnson, my coach. Jared Goff, my quarterback. I'll take the Lions.
Okay, instead of the Browns in the Colts game, I chose this game. Steelers at the Rams. 305, Fox. Over-under 44, also pretty low. The Rams are -3.
I'm going to take the Rams because even though I got suckered in on the preseason with old Kenny Pickett, I just don't see them traveling with their crap offense led by that offensive coordinator going into L.A. and outfoxing McVay and Stafford. Aaron Donald might have a field day. I think that McVay will do enough to keep T.J. Watt from taking over the game. I'll take the Rams. This is a great game.
Fun game, this one. This should be a good one. The Dolphins are traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles on Sunday Night Football, 7:20 NBC. I believe this was the highest over-under that I saw this week, 50.5. Philly -2.5.
I will take Philadelphia. And here's why I'm going to take Philly. First of all, the worst thing that could have happened to the Dolphins was Philadelphia pissing the game away last week against the Jets. So they're going to be motivated. Secondly, last year, Philadelphia was able to prepare for this offense for the NFC Championship game with San Francisco. They've had San Francisco circled. This is a San Francisco-like offense. Now, they're going to have a hard time with Tyreek Hill, and I think that McDaniel will get some shots in there. But I think Philadelphia will prevail. Jalen Hurts had a bad game last Sunday. I think Jalen rebounds. I think that line rebounds. And ultimately, I don't think A.J. Brown can be stopped by the Dolphins. I'll take the Eagles. That's going to do it for us, Stillman and company. Everybody have a great weekend here as the Titans are on the bye. We will see you Monday at 2 o'clock. Riddle and the Reporter are next.